Oh, what a shame we said we get all left to win. There's no one left today. I said, we're born to recreate sinful creature. Away, 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 away.
Okay, now I see. Peace, family. Okay, we're back. Is everything better? Everyone back on? Check on in. Check on in. Is everyone back on? Okay, tell me. Can't stop, won't stop, Stevie. Word up. Is everyone, press 1 if you can see me better. If it seems like the live stream is working better, press 1. Let me know everything's good. Good. Okay, so again, I can't see myself on the screen, but just tell me if it gets a little off or the live stream goes off. I can't tell. Okay, we're all good. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so I just did a little better. So let's start off tonight with our topic of divine relationships. As many of you know, I talk about, I've talked about, having relations with those who are not of the same frequency, of those who are, perhaps more vampiric or parasitic. And a lot of times what happens is that we engage with those who are not matching. And, I love how the Christians will state if you're unevenly yoked. Many people, like to make some criticisms of Christian and it's Christian statements or things that they believe in, but I really know that to be true. When you get with someone of a different frequency, of a frequency that is not matching of yours, usually you're going to have a lot of adversity, and everything that is meant for you should go easily and be effortless. It should flow. It should have an ebb and flow. Okay, so when I talked, I think I briefly spoke about last week or the week before, I'm not sure which time, I did speak about having, working with those who are working on same life cycle, are in the same life cycle points with you, or ones that are cohesive to you. And can you guys see me? Hopefully you can see me. Hello, are you there? Carmen said she can't see me. Can you? Anybody else see me? What's going on? Oh, is it going down again? Okay. Tell me, number one, is everything working? Because some people are saying they can't see me. Everything's fine? Okay. Some people, all right, everybody's fine. Okay. Good. Okay. So let's start with this. It is very important at this stage in our evolutionary process, especially if we're going through ascension. Not everybody's here for ascension, but for the most part, people, even if they're not here for the actual ascension themselves, on a soul level, they are here to partake in the into seeing what it will be like when they're going to go through the ascension process. So some people are spectators and some people are participants. If you can, hey Ray, peace, 1 + 3, I miss you. So when I was saying when you choose your mate, it's very important to make sure that they are vibrating with you. Now, I always say that when we choose mates, there should be nothing about you that you need to change to receive or to illuminate or to attract a mate. If someone is meant for you, they will be vibrating and be in your general environment and accessible by you. You will have to change nothing. You won't have to lose weight. You won't have to wear makeup. You won't have to do anything, because those who are meant for you are already in your vibration and will be attracted to you based on your likenesses. We always think that we have to change. When you start changing yourself to match with someone who's not of your same vibration, then you're going to get into dilemmas. You're going to be ill-matched in frequency, and there's always going to be a tug of war. Okay? So let's just say, I'll use an example. You have Nista, right? You have Nista living from Mount Vernon. I'll just use mine as an example. You have Nista living in Mount Vernon, right? She's a cool person, a little nerdy, what have you. She's living on the same block all her life. Now, generally, whoever's in her general environment who is normally attracted to her is going to be those who are matching her frequency. And she may look like a regular Play Jane, she may look like a fabulous Nista, what have you, but it doesn't matter what she looks like. Whoever is with her will match her frequency, will be attracted to her. If she changes anything about herself by putting on extra makeup or changing herself physically and altering herself, if she's changing her hair, making her hair look more straight or more curly, she's changing her natural hues, she will then attract another mate on that frequency, but she's not really matching. She's masquerading to meet that person. She's masquerading and matching with someone on falsettos. So what happens when she engages in a relationship with someone who is with her based on the projection, the false projection she's now illuminating, then she will be with someone who now is not really in a relationship with her per se. This Nista from Mount Vernon, plain Jane from Mount Vernon, whoever she is, she's with someone who's with her purely for the mask she's wearing. The person is only with her for the mask, but the mask can only stay on so long. Eventually the mask comes off. Okay, so that's just on a surface level. When we talk about matching of frequencies, we should also talk about there's such a things. It's called they're numbers. There's cycles that we go through, 1 through 9, and from birth to when you transition, you will be going through 9 cycles at a time. So each cycle will be 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycle, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to give you an idea. I don't want to draw too much into this, but a lot of people weren't even in the know that there were cycles that we go through from 1 to 9. So let me state the first cycle. I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of each cycle, so you get an idea of the cycles that you go through 1 through 9, and you go through the stages of your life. So from age 1 to 9, you go through the stages, and then you start off again at 10, at 1 again, and then you go through it till 19. And then then you start off, then you go to 18, and at 18 you start off again, and then you go to the next cycle, 1 again. Okay, so let me just go through the cycles. Okay, so the first cycle that you'll go through, the 1, is a new beginning in your life. It's the current year, the beginning of the new 9-year cycle. For you, it holds the promise of beginning, being an excitement, new adventure with life taking on new challenges. You pave the way for the next cycle for the next 9 years of your life. This is the time to clarify your goals, and it is the time to act on them. Hard work may be necessary to get a new venture moving, okay? So 1 is a new beginning, your cycle, okay? So 2, personal year, number 2, is development, cooperation, and waiting. This is the number 2 personal year. Personal year 2 is a wait and see time. A year when you find yourself in the background and very much in a stage of development. This is not a time to force the issue and try to move forward. Okay, I'm just giving you a little bit as we go forward. Personal year number 3, social expansion and creative successes. I'm not going to read each one, but we're going to go over a little bit of each time. So personal year, social expansion, creative successes. This is number 3 personal year. This is a social happy year. So when you're in cycle 3, this is a happy fun year. Many of you who are turning 21, that's why 21 is that. 21 is a 3. That's a 3 cycle. So that's when you're getting into that social happy year. It tends to exude bright and cheerful vibrations. This is a year when you will check up on old friends, broaden your social circle, include new ones. So 21 is a wonderful 3. That's why 21 is, they tell you, it's so funny. We have all these events that we celebrate, and they don't really tell you why they make it like that. But 21, and yes, and also 12. 12 is also 12 is also a 3 year. So that is 3 cycle. I'm going to go in again. We have personal year 4. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so we have 4, which is hard work and slow but steady progress. So this number 4 is 22. It is a personal year for you. The previous year will not be truly forgotten, and the facts of life were clearly spelled out. This is a year of hard work. So 4s are like 22. You generally work hard whenever you're in a 4. This is a time when you don't want to go into be frivolous. You're much more steadfast. So the hard work and slow and steady. Okay, 5, feeling loose and free. Number 5 is feeling loose and free. This is a number 5, a year of major change in your life. Horizons are expanding and growth is less impended. Okay, so 5, you're feeling more loose and free. 6, love, family, home, and responsibilities. Generally, people tend to many people get pregnant around this time. People are choosing to get married and mated. I don't see my, okay, I see everyone. People get mated at this time. With number 6, this is a number 6 year for you. A personal year tends to bring increasing responsibilities and a deepening concern for family, loved ones, and close families. It may be a year when you're called to make some adjustments in your life and sacrifices. Like I said, this is generally a time when you'll see people give birth during this time or get married. This is a transitional time, but it's more vested in family and relationships. Number 7, a time for analysis and understanding. Okay, 7 is your analysis. You're giving an analysis of what you've gone through. 7, personal year, promises to be it's a very introspective year, a period of some pause, reflection between very active years in your life. This should provide you with some time for gaining some understanding of yourself. Okay. Number 8, attainment and capital gains. This is when you actually earn your cash. Fruition. This is when you'll see abundance if you've seeded things properly during the cycle. So the 8th cycle, attainment and capital gains. This is your power year, a period when you make important strides in your life, coming after a very slow and introspective period. Hold on one second. Is everyone with me? Okay. This is a year of big decisions and major achievements. So what you've sown, this is where you come in, where it comes to fruition. And that's a number 8. That's a cycle I'm in now. I'm in a number 8. Okay. And last cycle is reflection and reaching out. That's a 9th cycle. Just like I have Aquarius, 9th gate. It's the last gate. It's a finality. It's a finale. That's when everything comes together, reflection and reaching out. The 9 is a personal year for you. This is a year of completions, endings, and at a time when you are apt to take inventory of many factors in your life, some of which you are no doubt proud of and others may want to change. You are likely to scrutinize old values. This is when it's like the final. It's like the finale of everything, okay? So, this, you can find the 9 cycles. You can look that up anywhere. This is wonderful. Why I brought it up, and I know it was very monotonous for me to read that. I'm sorry, but I wanted to give you an idea of how each cycle works, what they represent. And we go through 9 cycles. It just goes back to the beginning. Your cycle is your year. So when you want to look at your cycle, you add your years together to 9. So it's all divisible to 9. So 1 to 9, that's a cycle. It starts over again at 10. 10 to 18, that's 9. It's whatever, 9 is the end. Okay, so let's say you're 22. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. We got to go whatever's divisible to 9. So 1 to 9, 9 is that cycle. Then you go to 18. Then you go to 27. You have to keep going by divisibilities of 9. And you'll see what cycle you're on. Okay? So, so you have to look at your cycles, look at how it goes, watch each one. Each one has its own vibration, its own attribute. Okay. So why is this important with relationships? Why do I bring this up? I will actually link send this link to my maybe I'll send it to this page. I don't know how to do it. You know, I'm not technologically sound. I have a link to this. It is the personal years of life cycles. I actually have a book that when I was about, I don't know, 18 actually. Listen to this. I bought this book when I was 18, and I remember this because I was in Manhattan going to some sort of psychic affair. If you're from New York, many of you know we have big psychic fairs. They call it psychic fairs now. Many of the fairs are called metaphysical fairs now and things like that. But I bought this book there at 18, mind you, and that's a while ago. I bought this book on the life cycles, and I realized from then I took it. I made it very. I was very adamant to follow and realize the principles of each cycle so that I would benefit and maximize what I had learned about each cycle, whatever the cycle represented. Okay? So like I said, you go into whatever's divisible by 9, and those are the cycles. And why is this important? Because let's say you get with someone. How does this relate to relationships, you say, right? So let's say you get with someone, right? And they're at a cycle, they're at the cycle of 1. They're in their first cycle, okay? And you are, now your first cycle is new beginnings in life, right? But you're getting with someone who is at a point at their cycle, I'm going to get one that's adverse to that, who is into responsibility. Okay, so you're going to get with someone who's a 6, who's love, family, home, and responsibility. But remember, you're with someone who is a 1, who's at a new beginning in their life, and you're at a cycle 6. I'm sorry. Okay, you're at cycle 6, which is love, family, and home. You're going to have adversity based on the fact that someone's just coming into the first cycle where they're just finding themselves and they're starting to just set up shop. And you're already setting up shop. You're already in family mode. You're solidifying everything. And one person's at 6. You ever notice that you get with many people in relationships and one person wants to settle down and get married or to have children. The other person is kind of free foot loose, just wants to party, club, hang out, chilling, because they're not matching in cycles. There are different life cycles. So now you have someone who is at a 1, who is just beginning, just solidifying their life. And then you have somebody who's at 6, who wants to start a family, who was chilling, who wants to settle down. It's not going to work based on, not only they could match in vibration, but based on their life cycle, what's the hue is in their life cycle, they're going to miss the boat on really solidifying the relationship. One person doesn't have that in mind. They want to start the company. They want to build things. They're about, they're just starting their career. They're wanting to, solidify things like that. And then you have other people who, you have a man who maybe have done that already. He's not in his first cycle. Now he's ready to have children and settle down. So now he's picked a woman who's in the 1 cycle, who's just starting off her career and everything like that. But he wants to settle down and he's at a 6. So, yes, what does 2 mean? Okay, 2, whoever's in life cycle 2 means development, cooperation, and waiting. Okay, a personal year 2 is a wait to see, a year when you will find yourself in the background and very much in a stage of development. This is not a time to force an issue and try to move forward. It is a time for cooperation and building relationships that will benefit you in the future. A year of accumulating and collecting. Okay, so I know this is really, it's not that difficult to know, but it's interesting that we're never taught this. There are certain cultures, like the Mayan calendar, who talks about the different years representing things. And I think the Incas and also the Mayans were one of the most significant cultures that kind of took in and factored in this cycles, like what they actually made sure that people went into types of like an agricultural field based on their cycle or what cycle they were born into. It's very important. So again, I'll tag you guys on the book that I have and also on the cycles. It's very important. So when you're choosing a mate, you want to make sure not only are they matching your vibration. I'm not saying, so remember, okay, so I'll give you an idea. Another thing that could cause misnomers in relationships. So listen, I remember I've been a vegan vegetarian since I was 15. Okay, that's a long time. Again, I'm a woman of a certain age. So at 15, I began that journey of, I was an animal lover. I was really a big empathizer of all species. Just from a little child, I didn't want to kill bugs. I didn't want animals being hurt. I did studies on it. I actually did speeches in class on it. So, and what was interesting is that I remember when I was old enough to date, and when it became an issue is if someone's eating a big juicy burger, which is very normal in our society. It's not, there's not, I'm not against anyone eating as they eat, but at the time here I'm an empathizer of animals, and you have somebody who's eating a cow, what you deem to be a cow, in front of you, we're not matching. And even though he may think I'm cute, many thought I were, there were many who wanted to date myself and may have thought I was a cute young lady, and I thought he was handsome. Especially, I like ball players. At the time I liked athletes, and athletes were very different in my vibration based on, I was looking only at physical and he was looking only at physical. But when you looked at our two vibrations, we were two ships passing in a wind. It couldn't have worked because he had no empathy for animals. He was okay to eat a burger in front of a vegan who was overt about it. And in that way, there was, other than the physical attraction, which will subside, because usually the physical attraction only sits there, only is of allurement for the first, according to the Freudian theory, I think the physical attraction only lasts for about when you're enamored by someone, it only lasts for a short period of time, something like 16 to 30 days. So if you think someone's really attractive or very, lust fades, Pielo. It fades, and you want to make sure that when that fades, that there was something else that was attractive to you, or that you found to be of a more substantial, allurement than just the physicality. So just that was the thing. So someone eating differently than you, genres of music, being with someone who likes metal, heavy metal. Remember, I grew up, in the 80s, the rock bands and punk rock was big. You had someone like Nirvana, somebody who likes, not even death metal, but like punk music. And then you have somebody who likes hip hop, classic old school hip hop. It just, the vibration won't match. So you see how the hue of things has to be cohesive. So we're talking about cycles, meeting people who are in cycles that are cohesive to you. Does 11 cycle, what is your cycle is 11? There's no 11 cycle. It just goes by nines. So after every 9 years, you go back into the first cycle and it starts over 9 again. There's no 11. We're not talking about numerology in that way. We're talking about cycles. So there wouldn't be a cycle of 11. It only goes from 1 to 9, and then it starts again at 1. There's cycles of 9. That's all it is. Okay? So, life path. That's more into numerology. Now, if we start going into numerology, yes, those also go into factoring when dating or mating beings. Then we have to, now let's start to go into the more practical sense of astrology. You have many people who, think astrology is absolutely, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Some people think that astrology is, all fluff and make-believe, and it actually is quite the opposite. How you come in, what astrology is, it is the residue that is on you when you come in. So we talked about astrology with Barry Littleton last week, if you remember. Me and Barry had fun. When we were talking about it last week, we were talking about, I'm a Sagittarius and I'm a triple Sag. So I'm a fire sign. So if I end up, mating, which I've mated with Cancers before. Don't ask me why. Cancers are crabs. They're also water signs. There could be no true long lasting relationship with that, because Cancers are always in their feelings, and Sagittariuses are always aiming and targeting and always for adventure and travel. Cancers like to go into their shell and relax. If you go to a Cancer's house, everything is there. Cancers like to have all their knickknacks in the house. They have the best, Lord Barry said they have the best snacks in their house. Cancers love their home space. They make their home space there. It's beautiful. But, you know, a Sagittarius and a Cancer will not meet well long term. Cancers love Sagittariuses because Sagittariuses, yeah, I don't know why Sagittarius always go for Cancers. It's amazing. It's been my whole story. But Sagittarius, Cancers love the light of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius are the life of the party. We like to travel. We will go to other countries. We're very adventurous. We always into understanding. Cancers love that. They love that visual. They love how a Sag looks. But long term, Cancer and a Sagittarius can't be. A Taurus is now, Taurians are very hypersexual. Listen, Taurians, if you want to meet a lover, a fabulous lover, you get yourself a Taurian. But the only thing with Taurus is that if, Tauruses love food and they love sex. That's one of the things I have to say about Tauruses. Now, Tauruses are an earth sign, and generally they do well with others similar. They can actually do well with others similar to them, but Tauruses are very, very stubborn, and they're very slow to fruition. Tauruses are slow and steady. They generally do everything at a slow rate. And if you get someone like an Aries who gets with a Taurus, they will feel like they're being stuck in the road, and they will feel like they're being stultified. Okay, buckheaded. Yeah, Brian, the buckheaded, the Tauruses. Tauruses they have their signs that are more attracted to them. Then you get someone like a Cancer and a Capricorn. Capricorns and Cancers are the opposite of each other. They actually do well together. You take a Cancer and a Capricorn, they work together phenomenally. They do well. One is an earth sign, one is a water sign, but they are the opposite signs of each other, and they actually are cohesive to one another. One is in I use, the other one is I get used. The Capricorn generally uses things or people. The Cancer generally tends to get used. So in their opposite, working with each of the opposite signs, they actually work cohesively together in that way. Aquariuses are, know everything. To be an Aquariuses can be a bit. I like Aquariuses though. I like to have them as friends. They seem to know it all, but I feel like it's always valid how much they know. I feel like it's not smoke and mirrors. Scorpios, Scorpios are phenomenal mates, but they are venomous. Scorpio comes for you, they will come for you for years. They're unrelenting. So these are things that we have to take into consideration with certain signs. The vibration of the signs, it is the hue that is on the person. It's almost like the clothing on people. And it is very, very relative when choosing a mate, because if you notice, if you're astrologically in opposition of one another, if you just watch beings who date each other, who mate, if you take a log and watch long enough, you will see the opposition or the cohesiveness of certain signs, and it always is relative to their signs working in sync with each other, ones that are in agreement with each other and ones that are in opposition. It always works out that way. And believe me, I've tried to fight that for the longest time, and it never works. So, Tauruses are actually good with Cancers. Joanna, they're actually good with Cancers for some odd reason. Even though Cancers are in their feelings, Cancers like to stay their home bodies, but so are Taurians. Taurians are wonderful cooks and lovers, and they like their home base. And Taurians can do well with them. Also, I think Taurians also do well with Scorpios. Scorpios do well. Oh, you said Virgo and Taurus? Yes, Virgo and Tauruses. You find cohesive signs, and I really wish they had, I think they have a dating site, right? Does anyone know if the dating site, the astrological dating site, I think they have one who works out the, the signs of people and the numerology behind people. And then, okay, so we take in consideration the signs. So we talk about the signs, we talk about the cycles, we talk about the eating habits, the nutritional eating habits. What else should we look into having relationships other than the signs? We have to look at, we also have to look at the, what was it? The, oh, baby on a brain. There was, it was something important I was about to say. I lost my train of thought. I'm on too much technology. Hold on. The wow, I lost my train of thought. Okay, well, forget it. Whatever I was gonna say, I was just, yeah, family background. Yes, so yes, you have to look at the geographical ley lines of where people are from, how it affects them, their cultural base. That also is going to depend on, you know, you having a cohesive relationship. And it seems like there's a lot of factors involved in choosing a proper mate, but it's really not that serious. Why I say is because whoever is for you will always be in your general environment. Whoever is for you will always be there. So instead of looking beyond your general, because whatever's in your vibration is already at your hand. Birds of a feather flock together, everything in your general area. So someone says, well, I don't want to date. I met a person who said they didn't want to date anyone in the hood. And I said, well, you don't want to date anyone in the hood, but you're living in the hood. So you're matching the frequency. If you weren't matching the frequency, you could not live there. You know what I mean? You are a product of your environment. The environment is connected to you. You are manifesting your environment based on who you are. You're manifesting the environment that is cohesive to your vibration. And because of that, you have to take in consideration, is everybody seeing me okay? Because I don't know, I see buffering. Is there any buffering going on? You guys, can everyone see me okay? I just want to make sure. Okay, so everyone's good. All right, just making sure. So yes, you have to match those parts of you. And I always would tell people right now in the time when we're going through, it used to be back in the dark cabals age when they were flip moding everything in 666. They made it so that opposites attracted. So you had positive and negative and they were attracted to one another. That is no longer. Right now, it is now positive to positive, negative to negative. That is change. When our cycle is going back into the first cycle, remember we ended our last cycle. Now we're going back into our first cycle. It is changed from all negative and positive to now only the same. So those who are sociopathic, those who are narcissistic are now attracted to one another. Those who are sweet, kind, and just maybe agriculturalists, maybe nutritional nistas, whatever the case is, now they're starting to be attracted to one another. The issue is that what a lot of the people who consider themselves light workers or good people are having issues is because we don't have that many. At least now, until we go fully or further along into the ascension process, you are not going to have as many options with those who are, I don't want to use the word good or, but it's just you're not going to see as many people that are maybe in the lighter waves, the higher fields, because we coming from such a sick, depraved, narcissistic, vampiric time. A lot of people were infected with the lower vibrations and lower frequencies. Even now, people who are trying to get out of those fields are listening to lower vibrational music or have succubus, incubus connected to them, or in all kinds of lower fields. They're infected. So it's taking a while for people to disinfect themselves. So that's why you're seeing people who are very lighthearted, very sweet, very kind-hearted, very higher in vibration, having much more of a difficult time than those who are low vibrational, sociopathic, perverted. They're having much more cohesiveness because there's a whole bunch of them. there's a lot of parasites right now that are doing well together. And you're seeing a lot more of them pairing up because there's a lot more of them. That's just basically it. We are getting more of our healthier people, but they've got to get disinfected. They're disinfecting themselves. They're clearing themselves. Many people are changing their nutritional habits. Many people are becoming more naturopathic in the type of choices they make. Many people are stopped engaging in sexual activity that is very low vibrational. So now we're starting to see that change over. Okay, so now you're starting to see those aspects of lives change. Just like, as you disinfect, what I like to say, yes, the worms wiggle together in the mud. What I like to say is the parasites within will manifest the parasites without. So the more parasitic you are inside of your body and the more unhealthy you're going to manifest more of that outside of yourself. So, right now, for those who are considered light workers, please just be patient. Right now, there's a lot of divine males that are available, and they were being overlooked because we were living in a time when, archaic men were more attractive. The thugs, the guys who had 50 million women that they were, that they were given the pipe to, excuse my language, make sure the children are not hearing, because this is a conversation that probably we're going to get a little more enhanced in. The men who were considered to be more salacious were getting more play than those men who were good-hearted, who were loving, who were catering, who were have integrity. Those men were being overlooked. So that's why, and they're being hurt by parasitic females, non-divine females, hurting them, hurting their hearts, and making them, a little bittered. So that's why you're getting, a harder time for maybe the divine female to really mate with divine males, because a lot of them were being hurt. And, a lot of the females that are very disheartened from being hurt themselves are not really receptive to males that look that way, because they don't even think it's real. They don't even think those men exist. So when they do show up as divine males and they're good-hearted and they really have integrity and they're really there for the community, the divine female may overlook him because she's scared. She thinks he's just, he's putting on that facade, that mask that many of the other males were doing just to be able to, be with them. So for that reason, I want you all to just be mindful and patient. The divine males are here, and a lot of them are with us right now. A lot of them are here, and I want you to know that they are here, and to wait it out to the point where they show themselves, because actions speak louder than words. So do your divine do your due diligence to make sure that you are using your spiritual discernment, your first eye, to be able to read the frequencies. Because mating should be something that is not necessarily only physical. It has to come from the heart space. Back in the indigenous times, when we were indigenous people, we knew the families of the ones we would mate with. We knew their lineage. We knew who they were from birth. Many of us grew up with each other in our when we were living in our divine indigenous state of being. We had people around us who were, you knew the family status, you knew who they were, you grew up around these people and you knew their family. Now it's a little different. It's kind of like chaotic. It's kind of like looking through the darkness and trying to find the light. But the divine male is here. I talk to him. He exists. And I always tell my sea stars, just be patient and just wait it out and just wait to discern. And don't be so quick to draw. We don't need to be in relationships. As you saw with the cycles, sometimes you don't need to be in a relationship with someone when you're at a certain part of your cycle. Sometimes it's time for you to just cultivate yourself, heal yourself. And when you get to a point where it's time to mate, that mate will show up based on who you've become, how you've cleared yourself. And now the divine mate shows up in your field, because who you are inside is now manifesting environmentally, allowing those outside of yourself who are, more of your frequency. It took me many years to, I've talked about the Nazi that I was with. And, with the Nazi, he was quite chaotic, quite stultifying and so on. And because I had my discernment was off. I was unable to see the full spectrum, and also, also foresee what that was, how base it was, liking someone based on the fact that I liked the way he played basketball. It was beautiful. I loved the fact that he had no children. I liked the fact that he was handsome, but there were things about him that were, the Nazi. There were things about him. He didn't come from a healthy family, very abusive, had no respect. There was a non-respect from females and males in that family for other females. So they didn't have a respect for the divine female. Very chaotic, and it had a lack of integrity. But I was looking at surface things because my lack of discernment and not being seasoned enough to realize. And I came from foreign family. So my foreign family could not give me the tools to teach me how to engage with males in this matrix, in this world, with American males. They didn't come from the Americas. Their formulated consciousness was set up in another paradigm with other beings who are different culturally. That's why culture plays into, a factor into who you engage with. Having a French culture, a young lady of color coming to the States, we're very catering, very loving, and we don't really have fields. I wasn't raised to have shields up. So I was susceptible to any parasite that possibly could talk a good game. And I had to learn that later, So, okay, enough talking. Let's get to phone calls, okay? Because we can go into this all day. We're getting into divine relationships, and I want to hear about your divine relationships. Are you hitting or missing? Are you finding those? Are you finding those who are resonating or in your frequency? Are you finding it easy to engage or mate? Also we have to take in consideration that some beings are not meant to mate long term. There are certain blood types and certain types of people who've been bred who don't do well in long-term relationships. So there are males and females who are short span maters, meaning that they can only mate for a short period of time and then they're on to the next one. So are you mating with someone of the same blood type too? Oh, that was another thing, blood type, right? So we talk about blood types. If you are, and I'll get into this before I get into calls, excuse me, we have people of different blood types, especially if you're O's. So O's, O positive and O negatives, you have to be mindful not to mate with those who are, you shouldn't be mating. And it's just, it's less palatable to date those or mate with those that are other roost types, meaning that an O positive or negative mating with someone who's a B or AB would have a harder time based on the fact that A's and B's are subsidiaries of O's. So O's won't benefit from dating an A or B, but an B would benefit from dating an heirloom of an O. B's and B's work out together. AB's and AB's work out together. Positive work with positives. Negatives work with negatives. You see that again? That's why O positives and O negatives, when they have a child together, if it is an O negative carrying that child, and it is a B positive child, there has to be a Rogaine shot, or that child will die. There's a reason why that happens. I always state, and this is just me working, I've worked in a laboratory. This is what I used to do in my previous life. Fleur Brun has lived many lives in this life, especially with heredity and genetics. What I notice is that when you are, no, it's not bad children. O plus B is bad children. That's not that. You want to mate with those who are more cohesive. A and B's are subsidiaries of O's. O's are the OGs. Let's just say O's are the OGs of the pack. That is the heirlooms. Those are the ones, like you want to go and get heirloom organic seeds, that's what an O is. An O is the originator of the genomes, the umbrella of the genomes. Anything underneath that, an A, B, and B are subsidiaries of that O. Do you understand? So because of that, that's why an O does not benefit from getting with an AB or having a child with an AB. But a B and an AB will benefit from procreating and reproducing with an O. Now, the O bloodline is also connected to the Anunnaki. That's who seed it. That's why most people on the planet are O positives or positives. That's the Anunnaki bloodline. But O negatives are very, very it's a very small, minuscule. The negative Rooses are very small, minuscule population. And also the negatives are connected to what I love that Max Spears used to call them off-world blood. He used to say the O negatives, the negative Rus was off-world blood, meaning that I know of 3 options, and it could be more because there's so many different beings. I know that a negative Rus is usually connected to the Draconian bloodline, has the negative Rus. That is a type of reptilian. Also, the different types of hybrids that are from the Zeta Reticulans, which I just found out in certain insectilian bloodlines that are hybrids, are also negative Rus. And also those beings who are cloned or genetically modified are negative Ruses. So you have a plethora of beings. Now, positive Ruses are connected to the Anunnaki, but they're not only to the Anunnaki, they're connected to the interterrestrials or the Nomos. So many of the mermaid bloodlines, connected to the mer people or the Nomos, and also to the Anunnaki, and also to some of the interterrestrials. Now the Deros, I heard, anyone who's messing with somebody was talking about the Deros. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't really know it. I just heard something about the Deros, that they might have bred with certain people and there might be a negative Rus. Okay, so A's you should get with A's or AB's. And, right now you should be mindful to only mate with positives if you're positive. And also, if you know anything, if you are around people, one thing you'll realize is pheromones. I've talked about pheromones before, pheromonic qualities. Most negatives will not be pheromonically harmonic with those who are positive. What do I mean? Listen to what I said again. Most negative Ruses will not be their pheromones won't be harmonic with those of the opposite Ruses. Meaning that when you go upon someone, you ever meet someone, okay, this is cool. We ever meet someone and you smell them and it's just so beautiful, like you just don't know what it is. They could be sweaty. They could be, not shower, anything. But their smell is just so alluring. That's the pheromones. That you should also take mind that those who are of the same blood type, you will have more allurement of their pheromonic harmonics. You will be more attracted pheromonically to those who are of your same bloodline. If you have opposition of smell, chances are that you shouldn't mate with them, because there is a chemical adverse reaction with the smell. You will have a chemical adverse reaction with mating with them, and also creating children that will have physical ailments and also physical problems. If you want to make healthy children, be mindful to mate with those who have a very favorable pheromonic quality. Yes, I love to smell. I love smelling, especially mating. I can tell a mate, and I guess I can. You guys, I'm talking personally, but I know a mate from the smell. If I smell someone and that smell is divine, I want to mate with them. I can tell you that right away, and it's not always the case, but 99% of the chance, if I like the smell of a mate, I want to mate with them, and I want to procreate. And it's a chemical reaction that happens in me. And most people don't realize the perfumes that they're giving to you. Now, this is another problem. We have issues with pheromones because people are shaving their hairs off their bodies, so they are lessening their pheromone. When you expel it, not only are they shaving their bodies, some people are straightening their hair or wearing weaves of other pheromone type females. So if I am a woman of color, okay, my hair is a certain way. This is my hair, it's a little messy, but you guys are used to it. And I'm wearing a wig. And it doesn't matter if you're lunar, a woman of color, whatever. If you're wearing a wig of another woman who is another racial pheromonic harmonic, you will start to attract males who are attracted to that specific type of female with the harmonics, with her pheromones. That's why you're starting to see, that's why also you started to see brown males, melanin dominant males, being more attracted to lunars or women with straighter hair, because women of color started to wear wigs. So what they did is they made it a normality in their household, of another woman's pheromones, wearing another woman's pheromones of another woman of another race, and she allowed her sons to smell that. Pheromones got adjusted to it, so now the sons and the males start to like the pheromones of another racial type of woman, based on the fact that they're perpetuating their pheromones and making it a normality to their man of color. So most people don't know that pheromones in hair is in your hair, mostly in your hair. Like if you shave your, many of us like to go, commando on our lower region. We're all adults here, right? So women like to shave and they like to have their, their yoni space cleared off. But what you don't realize is that's why men jump from women to, the more hair you have on you, the more entrenched into your harmonic, pheromonic qualities that men will always remember. Men like women who have higher amount of pheromones. Yes, Dyer. The bushes are back. Dyer says the bushes are back. When you keep the hair on your body, you also allow a male to, when he engages with you physically, sexually, with your pheromones, he gets drenched with your pheromonic quality. He becomes enamored by it. It goes into his sensory, and it makes him think about you more. And same with men with beards. They have pheromones on their face, their face, even though I'm not a fan of men with a whole bunch of hair on their face, there's pheromones in there. So when a man is touching a woman, her pheromones stay on his facial hairs and he smells her all day. He can't wash her pheromones on. And women of color, women, melanin dominant women who have the strongest pheromones on our planet. It's a fact. They are the most pheromonic women on our planet. And it's interesting that the matrix has perpetuated for women of color to do everything to get rid of their pheromones, meaning straightening their hair, wearing weaves, shaving off their hair off their body, making them very self-conscious. But remember, Foxy Brown, remember all those women in the 60s who had the afros? Do you know that they were considered the most sexy and most beautiful women on the planet? Every man of every race wanted to mate with these Afrocentric women. You know why? Is because of their pheromones. They did not doctor them. They didn't get rid of them. They actually enhanced them by putting on dreadlocks or froze. So that actually mates. If any of you women are having issues with your mates and your males, don't get rid of your pheromones. Actually, stop shaving off your hair off your body. Because if you do that, he will actually, it goes into his genetic coding, especially if he's of your same blood type. He will remember that and he will favor you over other females. The fact of the matter is we're wearing perfumes with other females' pheromones as well, and other racial types, other species types. The reptilian pheromones is in a lot of perfumes. And they put a reptilian type of pheromone in there so that you'll be attracted to beings that you would normally be repelled by. I don't want to get too deep. I hope I'm not scaring you. Is everybody okay? I don't want to scare you. I don't want to get you, So deodorant, no. You know what's a great thing I've made since my girlfriend went to Bali? Okay, I'm going to give you a really good recipe real quick, okay? I hope I didn't scare you all. Okay, so listen. What is a great deo that I use? My girlfriend went to Bali. She went and met a man in Bali. It was fine, whatever. So she said she was always, very pheromonic. And she wanted to just take it down a hue. She didn't want to get rid of her scent. So what she did, which I do to this day, and I've made this deodorant for the last 10 years. It is $2 and change. I tell you, my sea stars, it works like a charm. You don't need it. I dance. I smell like an angel. Okay, listen. It is coconut oil with baking soda, and you can add a little essential oil if you like a tangerine, a lime, or something like that. That's all you put. You mix it together like a little paste. You put a dab on your underarms and any personal space that you feel is a little pheromonic, and it keeps you cohesive all day. You can dance, everything. It stays on you. You don't have to pay $1. You don't have to do anything. It is phenomenal. Okay, that is the best. It works like a charm. And I'm a thickums, I'm a thicker young lady, and I dance. So, I always like to smell like I look. And it works. I use it. The only thing with the baking soda, it does burn and darken up the underarms. So what I say is don't use too much baking soda because it can darken up your underarms. So wherever you use it does do that, but it works like a charm. You use it, you never have to have aluminum underneath your arms. You smell like a goddess and your pheromones are not gone. Oh, lime and lemon juice. Yeah, that's also a great thing to use. So use that as a deodorant. It's phenomenal. It's really inexpensive. Share it with everyone. It lasts a long period of time if there's other things you guys have done. But girls, ladies, gentlemen, keep your pheromones alive. and match those. And what you'll notice, especially with the females and males, you will love the scent of those who are pheromonically harmonic with you. Don't fight that. Not with baking soda. I remember I had a mate who was a Taurian. I love Tauruses. And actually that's, I fight with my affections for this Taurus because they don't like to go away ever. They love to stay with you, but I love my Taurus. I love mating with my Taurus. And one thing with my Taurus when I first met him is his scent. I drove me insane. I met him outdoors. It was a nice, hot, tropical day in Florida, and he was outdoors. And I remember they were out, I like Caribbean men, so they were out, cooking as normal. And I remember I passed by him, and I got a whiff of his scent, and it drove me. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to because he already was in tune to my frequency. He already saw me from the Getty up, and he had his pheromonic visual with me and scent was just the same. And from that scent, I kid you not, it was so divine that even he could have messed up his words. It wouldn't have mattered to me. It was so pheromonically harmonic that I was receptive to him kicking it to me. And from that day on, I could not get rid of my Taurian. I adore him to this day. It's very, I don't want to get rid of him, but it's mating season, so I always like to refresh my mates. Caribbean men I will tell you one thing about Caribbean men that many of you should know and just be careful with them. They're mixed with the sirens, and that's why, and the pirates, the Scottish pirates and the sirens, and that's why they're so irresistible. They have those type of incubus type of blood type. It's a genetic quality because they're mixed with some of the Mer people. The Jamaicans, many of the Caribbean men are mixed with those Mer people. Like it's a genetic type. It's the sirens that they're mixed with genetically. I don't know how it happened because remember the Scottish came and the pirates came to Jamaica. So some of the people are mixed with that. But what I noticed is that siren quality makes Caribbean men irresistible. It is very difficult for a woman to get involved with a Caribbean man and break free from him. Something about them is intrinsically, it's overwhelming. And that's why they have many different women. If you get with the, if you get with the Jamaican men, they tend to be philanderous. They have plenty of women, but it doesn't seem to stop anyone from mating with them anyway. So let me know, I'm going too far. So just be mindful with the, they're so passionate. Yeah. And Puerto Rican men and Dominican men are, well, they're mixed with that same breed of, there's a genetic quality that it's amazing. And it's so alluring. Anyway, live near the sea men. Yeah. Something about that Dire Straits. Anyway, so let's start getting to our phone calls, everyone. I know I talked to you forever. My voice is going. We have quite a few people on the line tonight. I see new numbers on here. Ooh, we've got someone calling in. So let's start taking phone calls. Remember, the number is, we only have 30 more minutes. I guess I talked a lot. We only have 30 more minutes on the live stream. So the number is 515-605-9881. Again, 515-605-9881. I've got 29 minutes left on the live stream. We go in for another hour afterwards, but if you want to call in and ask a question, by all means do so. Let's get into our phone calls. Oh, we're going to take our first phone call. Looks like they blocked themselves. This might be an ET. Let's see if this is human tonight. We accept all phone calls as long as they're integrity and they're for the planet, for Mother Tiamat, or for the positivity of us. We're good to have them on our show. So let's take our first phone call. Peace, family. You're on the line with Fleur Broom. Peace, family. Hello, 111-111. You're on the line. You're calling private. Hello.
Is that me?
Hi.
Is that me?
Yes, it's you.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Yo,
Hi.
what's up?
What's up?
I'm all right.
Who am I talking to?
Damn, you talking to me?
Yes. I'm talking to
What's
you.
up?
What's up?
Wilburn.
What's up?
It's B. It's B.
Who?
Barry.
Barry. Oh, yeah.
Barry.
Barry, you calling from a private number. You're the first person on here. Hey, Barry.
I'm always private normally. That's why I was sure you weren't talking to me. Damn, that's a trip. That's 2 weeks in a row. Okay.
What's up, Barry?
Oh, another thing. I've been listening. Interesting.
What do you think
analysis?
What do you think about the pheromones, Barry? Are you yay pheromones or are you nay?
I think I fail in every category. I love female pheromones. I swear to some of the awakened ones right now.
Oh.
Like Orion women on Star
Oh.
Trek. The green women. They had that heightened pheromone thing that they had going on.
They do. They do.
Very interesting. I saw somebody asking about Gemini and Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
Bad match. Good luck with that.
So what's your take on that?
One of y'all's rather insane is going to be rather insane sexually, and the other one's not going to be able to deal with that, and then the other one is going to be prone to second string lives, and that's not going to work good for the Virgo.
I hear you. Oh, someone's asking what I'm eating. I'm eating grapefruit.
Yeah.
I'm eating red grapefruit tonight, people. I know I'm always eating. I like to snack with you guys because I'm always hungry right before, because when I get ready for the show, I never eat. So I'm eating a really pink grapefruit, and I love it. So do you have anything to say about, some of these beings, the pheromones of some of these reptilians? Because from my knowledge, they were putting reptilian type of pheromones in some of the perfumes so that we wouldn't be repelled when we're mating with some of these reptilians.
I can't speak to that as much, but one of the charters that I encountered, and she was melanin dominant. All right, that's on the 7th year I encountered her, and she actually looked somewhat similar to, and I guess you could say Islander, as you say, but she said she was. When I asked, "What ethnicity are you?" or what race are you? She says, "I'm of Guatemalan and black descent."
Oh,
and nobody even talks like
that's
that.
That's Andromedan.
But the thing is, when I first encountered her, though, I mean, she was emitting some type of a pheromone that just literally kicked my ass. I mean, I couldn't hardly deal with it. And it almost messed up the encounter itself because I was so busy wanting to wax the boots that I couldn't.
Barry.
I couldn't think straight. I could ask her, "Oh, hey, are you a star being?" I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, "Man, this woman is so attractive. I can't hardly deal with her." Until she telepathically read me. I mean, she read me good, and I when she read me so good that I put up a shield.
Yes.
And when I put up a shield, she crashed through it. Well, and that's when I knew that she wasn't normal.
Well, that's another thing that we don't talk about is a lot of these beings, especially the insectilian hybrid queens, they have pheromones that supersede the nose. Most of us think of pheromonic harmonics as that is only scent that we smell. No, pheromonics will affect how you see people and things. Strong pheromones will change your perception of how someone looks. A lot of these hybrid insectilian queens, or other beings that have these heightened pheromonics, the Andromedans do, they are able to overtake your mind and visually make you see them as more attractive than what someone else may see if they're not exposed to their pheromones. They have these super enhanced pheromones that are superhuman. They're not even human. They're not even superhuman. They're super beinged, and they are able to overwhelm your basic, your cerebral cortex, kind of like a reptilian does telepathically. So, we should talk about that, because once they get past they bypass your cerebral cortex, they finesse your subconscious so that you see them in a way that would be like that. Kim Kardashian is a, how I feel, Barry, about that. Kim is a, in my, Kim and also Amber Rose. If you notice, the Insectalian queens have an ambiguous look. They don't look like one race or another. They look like all races mixed together. That's what I notice about some of these Insectalian type of beings. They look ambiguous as far as looks. You can't tell what race they are, but their pheromones are sick with it. They overtake they're just you're so sexually attracted to them that you can't even see straight. That's what I'm saying. And the pheromones is more than smell. It is a quality that overtakes your visual with them, and they are able to, again, bypass your cerebral cortex and finesse your subconscious to be so enamored by them. But you'll give them your family. You'll give them all your money. You give them everything. You give them your soul. Watch the NBA players. All these NBA players.
Something else to kind of keep in mind with that, especially when dealing with non-human intelligence, and there's some of that are in humanoid form can do this also, but it's actually the optic nerves. Once you get too close and you get these beings that can actually project consciousness and intent through the optic nerves. And the way that affects us, even orbs do that. The way what we start seeing automatically, our own cognitive dissonance starts kicking in, and cognitive bias.
Yes.
Which is really see what we want to see, And a lot of times you can't even accept seeing a being like that anyway, even just an orb floating around you.
That's
a lot
true.
of people can't take that.
That's
so they'll
true.
perceive it to be as a number of things. In that way, I want to, bring that up real quick, what they're calling the quantum holographic theory of consciousness. And really what that's dealing with is all these little technical wormholes that create actually a quantum hologram when they're used. And there's a mechanism that's storing information there. So when we're dealing with the civilization, like what Michiko Kaku says, like a type 2 and type 3, what we're lucky if we even make it to type 1 before we destroy ourselves. But once you made that transition and you start using these wormholes for interstellar time travel or interstellar travel, you automatically start going through that quantum hologram and creating that copy.
Yeah.
So a lot of these civilizations, if they did like Kaku says, they destroyed themselves within turning into a type 2 civilization. Okay, then in that case, they're going to be actually operating and living and existing in the quantum hologram itself.
Yes.
So that means, and they're taking that right now. I'm looking at these physicists right now, Ray Hernandez, and they're actually breaking down the quantum hologram to the proton. They're saying they're attached to the proton. So that means for us on the conscious level, how much the divine field and these beings that only exist in the quantum hologram actually are affecting our experience.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
In terms of holographically, we're consumed. We're full of that, and as well as that's where they exist, and that goes all the way into these ships. Some of the ships that I've shown on my channel, especially one that has the gyrosphere ball at the bottom, creating the column of light. Okay, when experiencers say that they touch that column of light generated by the engine, it turns into a wormhole, and they have access to the Akashic records. Now, that's because, as I've explained before, this ship, the engine itself, is actually built around a micro wormhole, around a black hole. All right, so in that way, that's part of the engine component itself. So when we touch that, and a lot of you go in astral form, that's why they actually bilocate a lot of us. The dream body doesn't pertain to the same physical laws that this body does. So when you're there, you don't have that sickness like I would get. But you touch that wormhole, you touch that light, the living light that they call it, it turns into the Akashic Records. And kind of take that and cross-reference what I was telling you that Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, called the barbecue effect. Remember?
Yes. Yes.
Real quick, so I'll shut up. Get out of here. So you have other people, but the barbecue effect was when Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, was coming back from the moon. He says, that pod turns, that it turns a certain degree to stop it from overheating, so the sun would heat it, so it turned. And he described that as a barbecue effect. But he said that when looking out of the glass there, everything started turning in a circle, a spiral. And at that point, he felt like he was connected to each star had like a connection to a cell in his body. And that's kind of the Akashic Records, and also what's called the Tipler cylinder, if you're looking at time control technology. I mean, they were really talking about accessing all that. So that's kind of where that consciousness comes in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Barry...
Does that make any sense? Was I just rambling?
No, it makes sense to me and everybody else. They've been part of our family for a while, so everybody understands. Absolutely. But
got these weird people out yelling in my ears. So.
Anyway, so Barry, if you want to hold on, I got to get on to a couple other people who want to talk about this divine feminine mating. Hold on, because we always like to talk to you, Barry. So hold on the line, and I'll bring you back in after I talk to a couple of these people. All right. Peace, Barry. Barry knows what he's talking about. He talks about the holographic field and, these micro wormholes that beings are actually interacting with us. But like we said before, there are beings also who are interacting with you who have taken over your basic synapses. And what I like to say, they've hijacked your basic synapses and they've taken over. And also, they use it via music too. So sometimes they take over your consciousness through the music, So Barry knows what he's talking about, because that's Barry's about that life. So anyway, I'm going to take our next phone call. We're going to go to number 647-1748. You're on the line with Fleur Brune. Peace, family. 647-1748.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi. Peace, C-Star.
Hey, it's Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
From Toronto.
From Toronto.
Hey,
Big up, Canada.
Yeah. It's finally warm over here. Finally.
Thank goodness. How long will it stay warm? How long do you guys get your summer? How long?
You know what? Here it's very unpredictable. You never know. You just appreciate the warmth when you have it.
I hear that. Absolutely.
You never know. I mean, I'm just enjoying the sun.
Good.
Right?
Good.
So while you're there talking about blood types and pheromones and all that stuff,
Yes.
I remember. No, listen, I've been single for like 9 years, right?
Goodness.
And everybody says that I'm just, oh yeah. So my friends always say I'm someone who's very oblivious to everything and whatever. I don't know. I'm just me, I guess. But I remember when I was around 16, right? There was this one guy that I didn't know his name. I knew nothing about him. And I saw him and he was just, oh my God. Even to this day, we're still friends. Yeah. But I always wondered why, because I don't like people like that. Well, no, I'm a loving person, but I'm never that, I don't know, just like I'm in a trance. Never, ever. Even to this day, that has never happened again, right? He was just that one anomaly, right? And I just asked him, hey, what's blood type, right? And he's like, oh, I'm B positive. It's like, oh, I'm B positive too. Maybe that is why.
Interesting. Pheromonic harmonics. You see that?
It must be, because never again. I mean, there's not a lot of bee around. I don't meet a lot of bees.
Yeah.
I might meet an A bee, but I don't meet a lot of bees, right? And I always wondered, like, well, I even said you're an alien because I don't like nobody like that.
No.
I always said that you're the alien,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it was just weird for me because I don't. I mean, again, I'm a very loving person and I always have many friends, right? But to just be in that trance, it's never happened, never ever happened, and I always wondered why. Now I know it possibly could be the blood type.
Absolutely.
And another thing that I've mentioned before, even though I'm a B positive, most of my friends are actually negative.
Interesting. Something.
Yeah, most of my friends, and I'm talking about my really close friends, like friends that I go to their house, eat their food, don't do the dishes, and leave type of friends, right? And we're still friends.
I love it. That's interesting that
right?
you resonate with the negatives. I'm wondering why. Somebody in your family, you may be a B positive, but there might be family members that are negatives. Because you would not feel cohesive with negatives unless you were, there's somebody in your, there may have people in your family who were negatives, who you were accustomed to being around.
Because even my roommate is AB negative, right? And trust me, we live like sisters.
Aw, I love it.
But yeah, oh yeah, we live like sisters. People don't even know, other than the fact that she has a different accent than I do because I'm Caribbean and she's African.
Yeah.
Right? But we are so close that people would think that we're sisters until we start to talk.
Oh, I love it.
And my closest friends are all O negative, AB negative, A negative. I don't know any other Bs, but yeah, it's weird.
Well,
it's just one of those weird things about me, I guess. So
no, but
that's just one thing I wanted to mention too.
I've noticed bees, and bees tend to go in certain fields. Another thing, the Japanese do business based on blood types. They take that's not the sole criteria, finding out your blood type, but it is a factor in how they hire people, how they place people in certain facets in their society. And it's interesting that they do that, and it's something that is never spoken about here in any which way or facet. When my family first got, my mother and father got married, it was mandatory to have your blood type on your marriage certificate. Before you got married, you had to get your blood taken to find out if you were conducive as far as blood type for having children. If you notice now, everybody's just having children and nobody knows each other's blood types. They don't even know each other's blood types until they get pregnant with a baby with the opposite blood type. That's that's madness.
But my parents, my mom doesn't even know her blood type, and I don't think my dad knows his too. But
wow.
I mean, one of them has to be a B.
Well,
one of them got to be a B.
Somebody may be an AB. It may not necessarily be a B. It could be somebody with an O.
Yeah, our could be. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be one or the other, but bees are, you see bees, I see bees around. Bees are, remember, in the Montauk, not the Montauk program, I think it's, is it the Montauk program? They utilize bees to do, incept, because your brains, for some reason, bees are good for intel. So they utilize bees in the programs to incept into certain groups to get information. That's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't know. It is interesting. But I say, well, good luck. I mean, good luck.
Thank you, Crystal. I love you.
No problem. All right. Bye.
Peace. I love Crystal's accent. She has such a beautiful accent. She's so lighthearted. Let's go to our next caller. 610-4306. You're on the line with Fleur Broom. 610-4306.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, hello?
610. That could be a cop right there.
Oh, they're talking. Oh, do you hear them talking? They don't even know they're on the line. 610-4306. They don't even know they're on the phone. 610-4306. You're on the line. 4306.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. I can hear y'all talking. Where you going?
Yes, it's me.
I'm in the car with you. Where are you taking
Hi,
me?
peace family.
Peace, fam. Where are you
I'm
going?
driving my cousin to the store. Taking my cousin to the store because it's cold.
Oh, you going to get some snacks like I'm eating right now?
Well, they getting chips. I'm not getting anything.
Oh gosh. So what's
But
good? What's good, fam?
I missed the show. I missed the show last week, but I've been watching it.
Cool.
Okay, so you want to talk about the, what is it called? Vampiric Nate?
We're talking about
I
Devon.
just, my baby dad,
Uh-oh.
my baby father,
Uh-huh.
he is something.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what he is, but like some of what you said about your Nazi and the person with the bad breath.
Yeah, my previous Nazi. Yeah, he's still around. No, he comes
Yes,
around.
that's how he acts.
Mm-hmm.
He acts just like that and very controlling.
That could be a lot of different factors. I mean, he could be, if he drinks a lot, he could be attached by, succubus, incubus could be attached to his auric field, demonic incarnates could be archonic figures could be attached to him. He could be, depending on where he's from, he could be a hybrid reptilian. There's a whole bunch of beings here. It's like a zoo.
Well, I think he's a hybrid. I think he's a hybrid reptilian because he do not drink. He do not smoke.
Uh-oh.
He does nothing. He works a lot.
Okay.
But he got a lot of stuff with him.
Well, if he's not smoking or drinking, that's also an indication that he could be a hybrid, because usually the hybrids don't do anything. Usually beings from other worlds are hypersensitive to chemicals.
I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. They're hypersensitive to chemicals.
Yes, I knew it.
Uh-huh.
So I knew it.
Find out his blood type. We'll do a study on him. Find out his blood type. Send his picture into the show. We'll blow his spot. Let me stop.
I have another question.
Sure.
When I was pregnant with my daughter,
mm-hmm.
I also had a doctor's appointment, and they came into the room and they told me that like it was something with my blood. She looked at like scared or something or surprised, but she told me that it wasn't nothing for me to worry about. My slow behind didn't even think about. I don't know. It's just so much. But do anybody see the sky tonight?
The skies? What's going on with the skies? Something's going on?
Well, the moon is super bright. The clouds are super white.
Okay.
It just looks, I don't know, it just
looks fake.
Different.
Okay. Tomorrow's the full moon.
Too.
Tomorrow's the 9th with the full moon. The full strawberry moon is tomorrow night.
Oh, see, this moon is full and it's bright, like a light bulb bright.
It's not real. It's a satellite. Whenever it's full, that's when they can fully take over. But tomorrow they're doing the womb shutdown.
There's also usually when it's stars up there, it's a lot of stars, but it's not a lot of stars. And my sister. Mm-hmm. Then like asking me the stuff that I post on my page and everything.
Yeah.
And she said that the stars, or what she say, they change in colors.
Oh, that's not stars. Those are ships. If they're changing colors, especially if it's rainbow, that's magnetic energy. That's most likely a ship. The magnetic ships that are ran by magnetic type of energy. I don't know what you call it. Those are ships. So if you see them twinkling, blues, reds, greens, that's most likely a ship. That's not a star. That's a ship that's cloaking itself, making it look like a star, but you and your first eye get to see what it really is. So it's a ship.
Right. My family is sleeping. Yeah. So I just tell them, I don't try to make them believe anything. I just tell them, you research it yourself, and you find your own truth.
That's right.
And they're coming to me and they trying to figure out how do I know this.
Yep.
I don't know, some of this stuff I knew when I was a young child. I didn't want to be weird no more, so I like put it in the back of my mind or something.
I understand.
But now they coming to me. I'm not weird anymore now.
That's right. No, because now we're going into, remember, going into the age of Aquarius. And because we're going into the age of Aquarius, now everything is being out in the open. Everything's coming out into the forefront. So now all the people that you thought you were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, just like myself, they thought you were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Everybody has inquiries now because now everybody's woken up. It's like waking up out of a sleep. Like, oh snap,
Right.
where am I? I'm not in Kansas anymore. Where am I? What am I supposed to do? What's on and popping? That's basically how people are waking up.
Right.
And it's good, and it's good. Remember, the fact that you're woken up means that it's in your genetics for you to be the one that wakes up your gene pool. There's usually one or two sparks in a gene pool. You're the one who's supposed to be awoken, so that you're able to give the intel to your family, to your genetics. You feed them information, which is beautiful. That means you were chosen for that.
Yeah, look, in the sky, I'm trying to tell you that they moving right now. But it's in threes. They're in threes.
See? Beautiful.
Because I'm sitting outside in my car because the house that I'm at is too loud. So
I love it.
I'm sitting outside.
You get to see them. And also, they know when we're talking to one another. The wonderful thing about contactees or people in the know,
Right.
they always know, the ships know when we're interacting with one another. So they show up. It could be you on that ship in the future. It could be you looking down on you.
I had one more thing to say, then I'm going to go.
Sure.
What day was this? I can't remember what day, but it was a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just was looking into the sky. I usually do it just because, they got a lot of stuff going on up there. Just got to look, keep an eye out.
Absolutely.
But I seen this thing floating in the sky, and it was black. First, I thought it was a balloon because it's graduation time for the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it was not a balloon. So since I missed the show, I listen to the show all the time. The recorded one, because I take notes and see if I missed anything.
Aww.
But when I was listening to that show, something popped in my head, and now when I remembered it, the dark thing, the dark object that was floating, could have been cube or square.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
Cube
very,
or square.
very amazing.
That's connected,
and I know
that's interesting. The cube or square connected to Centaurians. Also, there's other beings that ride in cube type of crafts. Sometimes there's other beings that do intel, who do research on us, and they usually sometimes are in squared or cubed crafts. That's interesting. Very interesting. Oh, wait, hold on one moment.
90 seconds.
90 seconds in a queue, everyone. For anyone who's deciding to call in who has a question, you have to call in now. 515-605-9881. It's your last chance to call in. We go into another hour. We have a bonus hour after this, but we're off live stream, so you'll only be able to call in now. So if you're going to call in and ask a question, it's on and popping, you need to call now. It's 515-605-9881. You've got about less than 90 seconds to call in.
60 seconds.
You hear the countdown. Okay. I'm sorry about that, Mama.
Nope, not a problem. And I just want to thank Mr. Barry Littleton, because the stuff that he say I experienced when I was a child. So it just makes so much sense to me that it's like I'm going through it again as an adult.
Yes.
So there's no way you can be like, oh no, you're crazy, or you getting it again, and you seeing it with your own eyes, your own ears, and you feel it with your own heart. So
yes,
something is definitely going on, and I am not going to sleep.
Oh, good. I love it. I love that you're doing the intel and you're out there looking. Oh, Mr. Corey says the Anunnaki are in the cube ships and triangular pyramid shaped
10
ships.
seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Corey. We got Mr. Corey on the side lay, giving us some intel on the side. Thank you, Mr. Corey.
Yes, Mr. Corey is the best too.
Well,
And
thank
Mr.
you.
Javiga. I
Oh,
love y'all so much.
love you.
And everybody enjoy your night.
Okay. Peace,
And
C-Star.
spread the love around the world.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, yes. I see people said there's dislikes. Listen, I could care less who dislikes the video. We are a family. Those, those from the other camp, I don't want to say his name, but Nature Boy and his crew always like to come to my platform to dislike my videos just because he feels like it's a little bit of a slap for my, going against his cult. So big up to Nature Boy for hateration if it is him. I give him credit maybe where credit's not due, but I feel like he has, he's still engaging on, pooping on his plants. So, his pot, that's what he calls it, pooping on watermelons. Ever since I ate watermelon, he made sure to show himself planting watermelon, which should have been planted like 7 months ago when they lived on their, on their place. But he's pooping on watermelon now, and I took it as dedication to me. Yes, so big up to Nature Boy for pooping on his watermelon plants and making sure he made a video after I just ate watermelon last week. Let me stop. I can't stop. No, stop. Let me stop messing with that man. I told me, listen, if y'all want Nature Boy to come on, tell him to come on the show. I think he's nervous to come on the show because I'm not going to ask the questions he wants me to ask. I'm going to ask him all kinds of other questions. Anyway, let me stop threatening him. Nature Boy, you're more than welcome to come on our show. We are a family here. We will not treat you any other way. We will ask you all the phenomenal questions, some that you may like, some that you don't. But you're welcome on our platform, come on. We don't hate, we appreciate. Anyway, let's take our next call. You're going to make a diss track about Nature Boy? Go ahead, CIA. I'm going to play it when he comes on the show. The day he comes on the show, I'm going to play it. Let me stop. He's actually, listen, Nature Boy is, listen, I've said last week, and I'm going to say it again. He's from New York. I mean, what I say is probably so lighthearted compared to what he's heard. Listen, I don't really have any hate towards him. I just had an issue with him, the way he was treating our divine sea stars over there, and they left. Along with, I think two other people left too. The guy left. There's just an announcement. I think Feisty left. Nature Girl Feisty left, along with what's the other young man that was there? Kino. I forgot his name. The other young one. He's adorable young man that was there. He left too. So they're leaving. We blew spots, and you see what happened? The whole place fell apart. So, like I said, no hard feelings. Thank you. Let me keep it moving. No more spotlight for him. So let's go to our next call, 718. This is New York number, 718-8428. You're on the line with Fleur Brune. Peace, family. Peace. 718-8428.
Hey, Flubber.
Yes. Hi, C-Star.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Peace.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Hey, Flurburn.
Hi.
Wait, let me turn down my video.
Okay.
Yes. I'm so glad I got through. I put it on mute. So, I've been watching your videos for forever. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you. Finally.
I'm grateful to talk to you. What's going on?
Well, I'm so nervous. My goodness.
Don't be nervous.
I don't really like to call in. But anyway,
family.
I'm so glad that I'm here with you guys. So I just wanted to talk about the video. It was a video that you did a few months back about empty theaters.
Yes.
And around that time, I had just got into a relationship with someone who was very nice, very loving. But there was just something about I don't know if it was my gut feeling that I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't tell if it was like stuff that I was dealing with from a previous relationship. Mm-hmm. How I've been single for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And so, moving into the space of allowing someone to get back close to you and stuff like that. It's just a little bit, I guess.
Apprehensive?
I'm
You're apprehensive?
open. I guess I didn't know if what I was experiencing was remnants of past, or if it was just nervousness moving forward. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But I just felt like I was just being drained, like, the text message in the morning, and first thing in the morning. It was just, I don't know. I felt like I was being sucked in, like literally sucked in. And then like just recently, the relationship ended because like it was just taking its toll on my, just being able to like really concentrate on things that, my spiritualness, my,
Well, you sound like a sign. What's your sign?
So I-
What's your
I'm
sign?
I'm sorry for the.
No, it's okay. What's your sign, hon? What's your sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Okay, you're a Virgo. Do you know his sign? What was his sign?
I'm a Virgo. Let me turn my phone up because I really can't hear you now.
Okay.
I'm a Virgo. He is a Gemini.
Ooh,
And I just thought it was really funny because Barry was like, Virgo's and Gemini is a bad match.
Yeah.
But it was nothing that, he was very nice and loving, but it was something that I just could not put my finger on, that I was just like, okay, I gotta stop this. So
it could be.
I don't know. I thought that was a really good point.
I think
that
yes. No, go ahead, Mama. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I think sometimes what happens is that we get in relationships and it falls short of maybe an expectation that we don't even know we have until I'm hearing a weird noise too. I'm sorry. I don't know what that noise is. I got a flash on my screen and it just did something. So I'm sorry about the sound, people. I don't know where it's coming from. Interesting. Anyway, so sometimes relationships fall.
I put you on speaker just now. You weren't on speaker.
Okay. Is that me? Oh, perfect. Now it's off. Okay, that's good. Sometimes it falls short of our expectations. And then what happens is that if the relationship dissipates and it ends, especially as a female, we generally tend to feel some type of way, or maybe put on protective armor and not allow for any inception from another male for good reason, just because you don't want to deal with that type of heartache again. You don't want to deal with the kind of sometimes we perceive it as a relationship not working as failure, and it's not failure. Relationships are here for seasons and reasons. Sometimes they're in for the short time, and sometimes they're in for the long time. But you sound young and spry. You already know what I would tell you to do. I'm a Sagittarius, and I would love for you to just get out there and enjoy yourself and open yourself up and be more receptive, because the more that you shield yourself is the more that you're going to manifest things to shield yourself from. If we come from a space of fear or apprehension, then we manifest more of what we should be fearful and apprehensive about. I'm not saying for you to jump out there and be what do they call them? What's that term? Not a hoe. Excuse my language. They call these girls these thoughts. Is that the word? I'm not telling you to jump out there and be thought-like. No, I'm talking about you're very light-spirited, and I know males right now who would feel your vibration. I don't even see you. You have such a beautiful vibration. I know males now who resonate with this frequency that you already hold. I would just say open yourself up. You probably were engaged with someone who was of some sort of parasite, a vampiric type, who liked to feed off of your energy. He might have been like that. It might be.
Yeah, I kind of felt that.
Yeah, it might be his general disposition. So he's feeding off of you, and that's what he does. And it's really probably not more personal that he would do that with any mate he's with. But you're so lighthearted, and you have even talking to you makes me feel better. So it shows me that your frequency is very, very beautiful. It's very, it flows well. You're higher vibrational. you would do well with males that are less possessive, that have more of an artistic type of field. You know, stay away from, you know, more corporate types. I don't know how your mate was. Stay away from men that are very stoic, very controlling, not very free in the way they think, you know. You just sound like someone who would do well with someone who's, less parasitic. Wouldn't we all, though? Parasites are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. But I don't want you to close yourself up. I want you to open yourself up. And I think I gave this advice to another young lady months ago, is that sometimes when you close yourself up, you're leaving yourself in a very stultified position. It's unnecessary. Your frequency right now is beautiful. You're going to attract more of who you are. If you're confident about you being a good person, you do well to yourself, you feel good about yourself, you treat yourself well, you will attract someone who treats you just like you treat yourself.
Yeah. What I found is I've been alone for a while, so it's, I don't know if I've just grown comfortable with just being with myself in my own space.
That's
and
good. That's good.
Everything like that.
It's
but
good. Yeah, that's good to have. It's good to have comfort with self. But do you feel lonely?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's time.
No, not at all. And
Oh, no,
that's the thing
no.
that gets me. It's like I don't feel lonely, but I enjoy company. Like I enjoy, doing things with him. But there was, sometimes I enjoy my time, my space by myself. So I just, I don't know. It was just a conflict that I don't feel anymore that I felt before, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. I don't know if it was like my guy trying to tell me, look, this is something along the road that you just can't see. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's not going to work out. Or like I said, if it was more or less coming from me based on my past experiences. So, I just wanted to share that.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
Well, don't just, don't compartmentalize things. It could be a variance. It could be different things. Just like you said, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be many things together. It could be that you feel good about yourself. You like your space. You feel comfortable. You're good with that. But also it could be that you were in a situation that wasn't something that panned out well. So you're a little cautious. It could be a combination platter. But there's nothing wrong with you feeling comfortable with self. But I would love for you, if you feel the need, if you're not feeling the need to expand yourself or mating, because mating is, you would know if you want to mate. That's why I asked if you're comfortable being by yourself, because not everyone wants to mate. Like I like mating when it gets warm. Like springtime, I feel a chemical reaction happen in me, and I am open to mating, finding a mate. It happens every spring. And then it goes through until winter, and if I keep the same mate, then that's fine. But if I don't, I stay dormant and I don't want to be around anyone. I'm okay with being in my own space. But then I go back through another cycle. In springtime, I feel like mating again. It's just me. So everybody's different. Not everybody wants to mate all the time. That's the matrix perpetuating hypersexual behavior to keep people continuously indoctrinated and distracted. Because if you're consistently mating all the time, or looking for a new mate, you can't work on yourself.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for a mate,
Clever.
Yes.
Huh?
If you're ever looking for a mate, we'll find you one on our show.
I don't know if I'm looking. I just want to enjoy, enjoy life. I just, I'm open to meeting, the right person. I just, after being single for so long and then, just moving into another direction, it can be very kind of, nerve-wracking.
I understand.
So,
and there's not much, there's not much going on out there either. It depends on where you are located. Because if you don't have a lot of choices with the right frequency, it kind of makes you feel like, why am I going to, you don't want to be with someone who makes you just to be with someone. You want to be with someone who matches, or nobody at all. I agree with you.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly. Right.
Well, you
Well,
sound.
thank you so much for taking the time out. You're
Aw,
wonderful. I love you.
I love
And
you too, Sea Star.
I'll listen.
All right, peace.
Okay. All right, peace out.
I love our young sea stars. She sounds so beautiful. You see this? You see this, our divine males? Look at that beautiful sea star. Her energy is beautiful. I love her confident disposition. She's okay just being in her own air, in her own field. It's so wonderful. That kind of confidence is, it's such a nice thing. You know, who said I'm a legit player? Who said that legit is a legit player? My question is, how do they feel when they leave, when the particular season is over? David called me a player. Player. No, it's not that. You know, I think with me, remember, I was mated for a long period of time. I don't have a plethora of lovers. You know, I'm a woman of a certain age. You know, I left my father's house and got married, and I was with a mate for many, many years. You know, it's not that I'm a player, but when I purged myself of my Nazi, because I had to purge myself of a Nazi, I had to get an exorcism to get rid of the unhealthy parasite in my life that I chose. You know, I don't blame my mate. He was applicable. He was appropriate for my growth, my spiritual growth, or what have you. But when I did, I realized that I have a certain requirement for a mate. And because I have a requirement of a mate, especially the type of person I am, could you imagine someone mating with me? I mean, like I said, I have a Taurian who I adore, that is the only mate I've had consistently since I had not been with a Nazi. But, you know, it's very difficult for someone to be a part of this ET world, to be down with, you know, this kind of information. I know. Jose's asking if I could adopt him. You know, I'm in a very peculiar position, and I meet a plethora of males. If I want to mate with a particular male, I have, you know, I would like it to be at the same frequency, and you know, it's not always as easy to be with someone in this frequency in our field, you know. So that's it, you know. And like I say, I'm very very particular about who I mate with, and like I said, I haven't had a lot of lovers. So even though I talk about mating like that, I'm a flashback type of person. Why I don't have a lot of mates is because I tend to go to throwbacks. I tend to go back to people who I've known and who are used to my frequency, who I know them. So, you know, but that's just me. And, you know, I always say, but, you know, I try to be as mindful with who I mate with. But, you know, I do understand the quandaries that occur in the matrix when it comes to finding an appropriate mate that matches your frequency. You know, I'm not above or beyond that. So let's get to our next caller. You know, I lose sight of who calls on the phone. Hold on. Please raise your hand if you're on a call. Make sure you press 1 if you want to ask a question, because I have many on here. So I want to make sure that you press 1 if you have a question. Let's see. I want to make sure I get to everyone. 323-6575. You're on the line with Fleur Brune. 323-6575.
Hello.
Hi, peace, sister.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. How are you doing? I'm driving.
No
so
worries.
I'm breaking the law right now.
Be safe. Be safe.
I know. I wanted to tell you something that I dreamed about, and it's been bugging me.
Yes.
It was a few days. It was some days ago, and I don't know what it means. It may mean nothing. It may just be a stupid dream, but I dreamed I was at the house I grew up in.
Yes.
And I was standing outside at the yard, and for whatever reason, my current neighbor was in the dream too. I don't know why she was there, but she's an elderly lady, but she was in the dream too. Mm-hmm. And now I didn't know, we never knew each other, you know, when I was a kid, and she's much older too. She's like 91 or something. But for whatever reason, she's in the dream. But anyway, we're looking at something in the sky, and I said, wait a second. I said, there's a UFO. And she says, where? I said, there, can't you see it? And she was like, oh, yeah. And it starts to turn its hovering over us. It starts to turn green, and then it turns red, and it moves around sort of in a circle. And then it moves off, and I remember looking at it, and I said, I'm going to will it to come back. And in my mind, in the dream, I said, come back. And it comes back around, and it's turning red, it turns red, and it turns green, and then it shoots a light down onto the ground in the yard, and it lights up this area, the spot in the yard. And I'm looking at it, I'm trying to figure out what it means, and I just can't figure it out. What is that about?
Where did it? Was it a place that you're familiar with? Is it in the backyard? Is it at where you live that it had a spotlight there?
Yes, it was a place where I grew up. It was the house that I grew up in, and in the yard, it showed down, and it was the yard that was on the side of the house. It wasn't the backyard. The house that I grew up in, it had like 3 different yards.
Yeah.
It had a courtyard, a backyard, and a side yard.
Yeah.
It was on the side yard for some reason, and it showed the light down onto the ground. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking at the ground, looking at the light, and trying to figure out what it was supposed to mean. And I can't figure it out.
The fact that you saw a UFO with a neighbor that was living next to your house, right? Next to your house where you grew up, correct?
No, that's just it. She didn't. She lives near me now. I don't live there anymore.
Interesting.
We didn't know each other back then, or, she's a neighbor that I currently have. Okay. At my address now.
She might be, the fact that both of you together had her placed in your dream with her while you're seeing a UFO it makes me think that she is a contactee as well. She also, the fact that she said, when even in the dream you said, can you see that? She says, yes, I can. It lets me know that you have that in common. Both of you are contactees. Secondly, the fact that it's showing and it's lit on an area around the perimeter of your house in a specific area makes me think that was maybe where you might have had contact previously, or something is in that yard of interest from those beings that put that spotlight there. Something that would be some sort of proof that they were there, something that you buried there, something, maybe a place where you've been taken before as a child. Many times when we're contactees, we don't have memories of it. We get glimpses, kind of like that. And also the fact that she's with you makes me think that she's also someone who's had contact with these specific type of beings, meaning same, whatever species is in the ship. The fact that you're willing the ships to come back, Barry talks about this, most likely those beings in that ship could be connected to you genetically in the future, meaning it could be you're their ancestor, or it's you in the ship in the future in another life, coming back and interacting with yourself on that level. It's a combination platter. It could be a couple of different things, but I have a feeling she's a contactee, or she's experienced a level of contact that is very similar or the same of yours with those same beings, may have been connected to you. But the spotlight on the yard, it could be a number of things. It could simply be where you've been taken before. Many people don't remember, and this is where Barry talks about having some a level of of regression, going to a regressionist, a hypnotist, to be able to pull some of those memories. It's going back to your childhood home also. That makes me think that it could be your own craft. Could have been somewhere where you were experiencing, because the fact that you're on this conversation with me and you're okay in this conversation talking about ETs and UFOs, not everybody's into this. And I always notice that people who generally are about this information, generally there's a reason for it. Meaning that they have a level of comfort based on their what they've been exposed to, whether they know it or not.
It's interesting because I come from a large family. There were 7 of us. One of my brothers passed away, but there's 6 of us now. Okay. And thanks. It was some years ago that he died, but one other brother and one other sister are into it. Remember, I think maybe I told you the one sister said she dreamed she was having sex with somebody,
Oh,
and
yes, yes.
and the weird thing was is that I had the very almost exact kind of same dream.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah,
That was,
there's something in the bloodline.
but
Are you mixed with the Native
and I was too embarrassed. Huh?
Are you mixed with the Native American? Did we talk about this in indigenous, your indigenous
Yeah,
connection?
yeah,
We did. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's usually one of the indications that also, because for some reason along the indigenous lines, contact or hybriding is linked. There are those from certain indigenous and Cherokee, Blackfoot, a couple other of the other tribes, the indigenous tribes who have been known to have contact or be kin to many of these different type of ET groups, which we found out the Pelagians are connected to those who are mixed with those, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot, and Iroquois, I believe, and also the Aborigine in Australia. So,
Yeah.
remember the ETs follow us for generations, like how when we breed animals, we know the mothers of a steed, horses. If you've ever ridden horses or know about horse farms, you know the lineage of those horses. That's how the people purchase horses. That's how they go riding. They know the genetic disposition. They do the same with us, like livestock. Yeah, they follow us
It's
generations.
interesting because my mother, she was someone, she would, in terms of like aliens, she's not there. But when it came to like spiritual things and, Louisiana is filled with, she was originally from Louisiana, and Louisiana is filled with all kinds of ghost stories and stuff. And her grandmother was Native American.
Ah,
She was born on a reservation in Alabama, and she was her name was Alabama. That was her name.
That's beautiful. I love that.
And yeah, her name was Alabama, and my mother would tell us that she remembered seeing when she was growing up. She was a little girl. She said she remembered seeing this light moving through the woods, and she said it frightened her. And then she said she remembered one night she said she was asleep, and then she woke up because the bed was shaking. It was moving up and down. It was shaking, and she jumped up and she ran out. She ran out of the room because she was terrified, and she was raised by my aunt, and she ran into my aunt's room, and she said thinking that there was a ghost or something like that in the room with her. And one of the things that I knew growing up is my mother would have these consistent nightmares where she was convinced there was a man in her room. I mean, it was just so bizarre that she would have these nightmares. There's somebody in here. There's somebody in the room.
Interesting.
So
there was a level of contact. There was a level of contact already happening in your family.
There's something going on strange there because, when she told us about seeing this light, and then my sister is saying that she's had all these weird dreams and, believing that she had been contacted. My brother's is totally believes it. He had something, his second wife, not his first wife, his second wife, when she was a little girl, growing up in Oakland, she says they were playing outside and they were on the street. This orb was hovering down the street. It was like a orb, and she says that they started it followed them up and down the street. She said they would run down the street and the orb would follow them, and then they would run back. And the orb would follow them back. And they said they kind of made a game out of it where they would run back and forth and this thing would follow them. And then after a while, they say it was just getting so strange, they decided to go in the house.
Yes.
Because it was just so weird.
The orb is
And
the orb
she
sometimes, yeah, the orb sometimes what we don't realize is our perception of things is very limited based on our synapses not able
right,
to see things or perceive things in a way that would be. It probably was a being and it just shows up looking like an orb. Or it could be an interdimensional being showing up as an orb, which is beautiful. Or it could be, your orbs are also connected to your ancestors. Could be a grandparent, could be an uncle, could be somebody connected to the family. You know, they show up like orbs. So it could be a number of different things. It could be being a being, but sometimes people talk about their ancestors, grandmothers. And you can tell by the colors of the orb sometimes how it is, what kind of vibration or frequency it's holding. Like if it's a warm color like an orange or a type of yellow like love. The white colors sometimes are older, you know, sometimes it could be a grandmother shows up with the white orb. A lot of times grandparents show up with a whitish, hueish kind of orb. So it's interesting that we're playing with it. I think it's beautiful.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that, I just that dream. I had another dream, and this was months ago, that really, really bothered me. And I woke up and I had the throbbing in the left arm
Oh.
and
Uh-oh.
throbbing in my leg.
Yeah.
And and I knew it wasn't. And it was a terrible dream. It scared me. I had a dream where I'm looking at, it looked like a computer screen of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at from above the ground. I'm like above it. It's like from the sky, I'm looking down and it's like, I can see like trees and stuff like that. And I'm looking down at the ground. And then the trees begin to swirl in a circle. And then everything turns white hot. Everything turns white hot. And I wake up and I said, oh, my God, I know what they're going to do. I have to tell somebody.
Interesting. Yeah,
This thing happened months ago.
that could be something malevolent. You know, there could be something you're very, very conscious about things. It could be something that could be have some sort of negative impact on people, and you were able to see it, look past the veil, and see what it is, what it represented. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I just hope it doesn't come true. I don't want to be a naysayer, but I feel I have to tell you this one other dream I had, and then I'll let somebody else talk.
Absolutely.
It was there was another dream that I had, and sometimes I just have weird dreams, and they don't mean anything. And I hope to God this is one of them, that it's just a weird dream, and it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I dreamed I was with my mother, and we were in downtown L.A., and we were like at a park or something, but we were amongst the buildings in downtown L.A. I don't know specifically where we were, but it was like downtown Los Angeles. And there's a plane that is falling out of the sky, but it's not falling like straight down. It's kind of falling the way a feather would fall out of the sky. You know how a feather just sort of floats down to the ground?
Yes.
And the plane is doing that same thing, but it's doing it much faster, and it's just coming out of the sky, and it crashes into these buildings. And everybody's trying to get away from this plane because they know that it's going to, there is disaster is coming. So people are running from this crash site, and that's when I wake up.
Interesting. What kind of plane was it? Can you tell if it was a jet or, sometimes it was a big plane, a commercial plane?
That's just it. This is the real interesting part of this dream. I know in the dream that it's like a prototype of a plane.
Okay.
It's not, because when I see the plane, it doesn't look like the planes that are currently flying. It's a new plane, and I do believe it's a commercial plane, but I don't know what airlines it is. But it's like a prototype of some sort. It's like a new type of passenger jet. Mm-hmm. Like a new type of passenger plane that has been developed, but the latest model, of this type of plane, and it's like a prototype of some sort.
Okay.
And it comes to the ground, and I don't know if anybody survives the plane crash or what. I just know that it comes out of the sky and it crashes into buildings.
Interesting. It could be, it could be it could be a futuristic plane, a plane that doesn't exist yet, a plane that's being created, or a plane that's, like you said, a prototype of a plane. And that sounds like something that may be foreign, there are more countries, there are more places that are more, they would quicker fly a prototype plane more than the United States. We have all these regulations. That might be a plane maybe somewhere in Europe.
Right.
Might be a plane that's not here, but in another country. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not clear who. It's a passenger jet plane, but I don't know what airlines or anything like that. I just don't know. All I know is it's a new type of plane and it's a prototype.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's a foreign-based plane because, again, we don't do that as often. You rarely see. We use commercial planes, but we have high regulations regarding planes and what planes are allowed to take off. FAA is we have super regulation, which I'm okay with. But in a lot of foreign countries, you've traveled and I've traveled abroad, they're more likely to fly planes that are in that prototype stage and kind of just wing it before even testing it for a long period of time or getting, letting it get fully efficient before they actually fly it. So you might be seeing something, and depending, you might have foresight. You might see something occurring. So we should probably watch the news and see what comes out, because if that happens, you can kind of, it's nice for you to have that kind of foresight psychically, so that you know that you're right on the mark. And it may happen. It may happen, and we'll all look out for it too, which is good. Not that good that it happens, but good to know that you have that kind of foresight.
Well, I just hope personally, I just hope it's a bad dream. I really do. I just hope it's a bad dream. And, there's times when I've had bad dreams and, nothing came of it. And then there were times I've had bad dreams and something did happen. There was years ago, I had this bizarre dream, and I remember it was a plane crash, and I remember thinking, well, this is strange, because what was strange about the dream is that everybody on the plane was Asian. And I said, well, what does that mean? And then, and then the next, literally, I swear to God, the next day there was a plane crash, and it was in somewhere in Asia, like Thailand, someplace.
There you go.
And this was like over 20 years.
Wow.
It was like, I think this happened almost 20 years ago when that plane crash happened. And I remember telling my sister, I said, I had a dream about this plane crash. And then she said, well, there was a plane crash in Thailand. And I was like, what?
See?
Or I think it was Hong Kong. I'm not sure, but it was, but that was the only time that I can think where I had a dream that actually it happened like that.
Yes.
I would get premonitions every now and then and stuff like that, but never such a vivid dream, because, I'm thinking, why is everybody on the plane Asian?
Yeah.
It didn't make, when I was having the dream, but when it happened, then I thought, okay. No.
But also for the fact that you've traveled a lot, see, where most people would be limited to their foresight or their psychic abilities, you've traveled a lot, so you've permeated other realms of existence on the planet. When you do that, you can get intel from those places. Or if you have a genetic, residue from it, like let's say you live here and your family's from Pakistan. Yes, you can have intel from there. But the fact that you've traveled a lot, your psychic premonitions can be connected to any number of places that you've touched, which is interesting. Because you're having premonitions of, again, because I take it as I've traveled quite a bit, so I take it as a foreign plane. It's not a plane from here. As soon as you said prototype, I was like, prototype, most likely Europe, also Eastern Europe, or even in Saudi Arabia, sometimes in the Middle East.
Okay. Okay,
or
well,
again
that's
in
good
Asia.
to know. I just,
Interesting.
I like to try and bounce things off of people because sometimes if I don't, then, it just,
Gets lost in the
stays in
sauce.
my mind.
Yes. Yes. And that's what this platform is here for. This is for us to kind of, connect. And, the wonderful thing about our family is that many people touch different arenas and things. So if you don't know, maybe talking to me. If I don't know, maybe Barry knows. Maybe, one of the other callers knows, or they mentioned something. And this is beautiful. This is what we need.
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if other people, had similar dreams like that or anything like that, but,
We'll find out.
I'd be interested in hearing from anybody that, has had something similar like that happen to them,
Absolutely. We'll find
And,
out.
if they like,
We'll ask if
you
anyone
know,
else is
so.
having that
So
type of
anyway,
thing. Well, thank you, C-Star. I love when you call in. You always have the most fascinating shares. Thank you. I appreciate you.
all right, thank you. Okay.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
I love her shares. She always calls in with some wonderful things. But listen, yes, I know a lot of you had questions, and I have my people over here, especially Mr. Corey did screenshots. So I see a Miss Cadillac. Now, Miss Cadillac, I think you're feisty like myself. Miss Cadillac wants to know. I'm going to answer her question because she perpetually asked it. She wants to know, what do I think about oral sex? Well, you really want me to answer that, Cadillac? Do you really want me to answer that? Okay, well, oral sex is something that is... Okay, Cadillac's like, yes. Okay. It is quite natural. Many people think... Felchus is like, yes. You guys, my girls, are so feisty. Okay, let me touch this. I'm going to tread lightly on this, okay? So, oral sex is something that a lot of, religious sects will say is something that's unnatural, that is animalistic, that it is, subhuman in a way. And I will say that I totally disagree. It is quite normal for people to taste and touch things. Even, I don't want to liken us to animals, but we are animals to a certain degree. Smelling things, tasting things, it allows us to enjoy things even better. When you taste something before you actually put it in your mouth, or you smell it, and then you put it in your mouth and you taste it before it actually enters into your yoni space, it actually makes for the experience to be much more exciting. It's exciting and euphoric. Also when males have a tendency to go and taste of the fruit and I don't want to say the forbidden fruit because it's not forbidden. When they go and taste and touch and lick and suck on those and taste those your release, we have a substance that is actually increases the male's excitement when he tastes those the flow. I don't know how you say it. I'm trying to be so careful right now because I don't want to offend, and also I don't want to. If you have children in the room, please do have them leave at this point because I don't want to offend or just be a little too over the top. But yes, love juice. Thank you, Kiki. Love juice. When you taste that, it actually raises his excitement, and it will allow for him to also stay more firm for a longer period of time. Men who tend to do that tend to shoot less quick. They're not as quick to shoot off quicker if they've engaged in tasting the nectar. Thank you, electric goddess. Thank you. I love the words that you guys have. If they get to taste the nectar, they tend to be able to hold their phallus erect for a longer period of time when they're entering the yoni space. Men who just quick to put it right in without tasting, smelling, touching, and caressing and going through a process of finessing generally have a quick draw kind of thing. It's just because it's just like when you eat with your hands rather than utensils. Your body receives the information, your cells actually receive the information previous to you putting in your mouth, and it actually can make your digestive tract actually accommodate for whatever you're about to put in your mouth previous to you putting in your mouth, based on the fact that you're touching, smelling, and having, that kind of yoni juice. So yes, oral sex is quite natural. I think it is a necessity both ways. I think it enhances the experience. I think it helps to bond beings. I think it is sometimes tabooed amongst many of the religious sects. I think there are males who also may take issue with this when they're coming from Muslim, and I don't know if all Islamic men are like this, but and I haven't engaged with a Muslim man, so I can't speak from personal experience, but I heard the Islamic men have an issue on how they engage. They don't really feel it healthy to engage in having oral sex with their mates prior to having sex with them, and I feel like that is that's why they may have such a disconnection with their mates. I feel it's a necessity. I think oral sex should be something that is fully engaged in and they enjoy, and I feel like spiritually, again, with the pheromonic qualities, especially if men have beards. Once that beard goes down in between the legs and that pheromones are put all over the face, that stays with a man. He can't wash it off. He will remember that female, and she holds in his mind, and in his he will always fiend for her. So again, some of the religious people take issue with this. I think it's quite spiritually wonderful. I think it only bonds you more, and I think it's a necessity on both parts. I think you should always taste something before you put it anywhere else. I think you should smell it, taste it, touch it. I think it's very important. Oh, I'm sorry. Dyer said, "Don't be so descriptive." Okay, so I'm done. I don't want to be so descriptive. I'm pro oral sex. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a necessity. Okay. What are the other questions? What about divine males and females who are mating or in relationships with same gender? This gets touchy. Okay, so what happens is that let me delete some people here. Hold on. I have to block some people who are saying very negative things. Same gender sex, it goes into there's a lot of things that happen with sexual behavior. Now, let's talk about female on female. Female on female, that actually happens more than not, especially when a female used to be androgynous in her first cycle, when there were only females here, and that's only how she engaged. When sexual reproduction wasn't necessary to create children through the process of parthenogenesis, when she was actually herself. At that time, females did engage with each other, and they did interact in that way in forms of bonding. Now, with males on males, the thing about when the phallus is entering the anal cavity, what it does is it stimulates the kundalini to activate, and what happens is consistent rupturing of the anal cavity always shoots up the spine, and it sends that the kundalini, it actually activates it to go up to the top of the spine behind your neck, which is where your reptilian part of your brain is, and it actually activates that part of you. Now, the difference is that long-term sex with males on males can have some physical issues later on, but it's not only physical. If a male engages with a male, remember we talked about past lives. Many males who come into this life, sometimes they were females in a past life, and they still have a need to be with. They still have that female component where they're still attracted to males. So then they come in this new incarnation in a male body, but they still have that same feeling. And I can never say that that's wrong, because I know for a fact that we incarnate in so many different types of bodies. And not all the time is it going to be cohesive, especially if let's say we've been a female for many lifetimes, maybe 2 or 3. Then all of a sudden you come in a male body. Then you're like, you're almost like lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? And you still have that love and that necessity to have the relationship with your male counterparts now that you're female, now that you're a male. Um, but many gay males are very in tune to the divine feminine. Yes, Morris, very much so. They are holding the field of the feminine consciousness. As the waves came in, many of them are super supportive. They were already in alignment with their feminine divine selves. So in that matter, I see it as, oh, did we end? Hold on. Oh my goodness. My blog talk ended. Oh my gosh. That was so rude. Hold on, family. We just ended. For some reason, my blog talk kicked me off at the same time. As soon as I'm talking about gay, homosexual, gay conversation. Goodness. Hold on one second. And there's ringing. Does anyone hear the ringing? I'm hearing ringing, which is crazy. Okay. Let me call back my home number. Sorry, everyone. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host PIN. When finished, press the pound key.
Oh, wow. It ended. Oh, wow. That's interesting. The show ended prematurely. That was so rude.
I'm sorry, but I did not hear you press at least 4 digits of your PIN number.
Okay, family. I guess Blog Talk is done. I'm sorry. So we'll just talk amongst each other. That was, I don't understand why Blog Talk is ending. We have until midnight. This is so rude. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so let me disconnect this, see if I can stop the sound. Okay. All right, so I don't ever want to judge anyone who is living a lifestyle that is in what you consider to be same sex, because again, we all come back as different sexes. We all have been different things, and to judge it, I can't really say. Again, having anal sex, though, I will say it consistently is activating your kundalini, and it can make you hypersex too. If your kundalini is it prematurely, that's why it's very important that we watch the children and that they're not having sex prematurely, especially if they're being anally sodomized, because if they are, their kundalinis are being prematurely activated, and it may cause for them to be hypersexed, or for them to be easily utilized for mind control. Like they lose some of their memory based on the fact that once the kundalini rises prematurely, it tends to activate a part of their brain that allows for them to be susceptible to mind control. That's why a lot of the mind control programs, a lot of the the MK Ultra programs make it a necessity to not only abuse children mentally and spiritually, but physically and sexually, because that part of the brain that is easily can be easily compartmentalized needs a level of abuse, especially sexual abuse, especially anal penetration, in order to access a certain part of their brain that is latent is latent. I'm sorry. Let me see. But again, I know many homosexual men. I know many homosexual women, and many who are in functional and dysfunctional relationships, just like heterosexuals. So I can't judge it. I just know that physically, engaged in certain sexual type of behavior does do things to you on a esoteric. It does have effects on you on an esoteric level, especially when it's penetrating the anal cavity. And there are heterosexuals who have anal sex too. So it's not just homosexuals who have anal sex. It's there are heterosexuals who engage in that as well. Let's see. Feminism is not. Oh, wait. Oh goodness. Nick Michael is okay. Let's get rid of this person. They're blocked. Okay. Unfortunately I don't like blocking people. See, we're on a because we're on YouTube, normally on my Facebook page, it's our own family, and we pretty much engage with each other with a level of respect. But if we're on YouTube, it's a little more difficult to engage with people because everyone comes in, and I'm okay with it. Just everyone has to be respectful. That's all. So let's see. Let's get some questions since we're on and they deleted us. So what's going on? Anybody have questions about that? So Cadillac, did I answer your question, Cadillac? She wanted to know about oral sex. Oh, what was that? So Cadillac, are you okay with the answer that you got? Was it okay? Cycle changes with different sex partners. Yes. Oh, cycle changes with different sex partners. What do you mean by that? Quantum rays, what do you mean by cycle changes with different sex partners? The cycle changes, are you talking about how the cycle changes as it relates to sexual partners? Is it fear? Okay. Is it fear of anything or like fear of sex? Oh, there, she's asking Lynn. Yes, no. Want to know, C-star. Hold on. Yeah, there are people on here tonight, prophets and divine relationships. Oh, Mr. Corey, you decided to join us, Mr. Corey. Hello, Mr. Corey. I love when you come on. And Keisha's on. Okay, Keisha. The date it came on. Okay, hold on. Prophets and divine relationships. Corey, why don't you? I wish you could call in. Corey, why don't you come on? Why don't you call in on the phone, Corey, and let's talk about it. You seem to have more intel about that. You could call my phone right now, Corey, and we could talk about that on the show for the last part of the stream. Twin flames. Okay, so twin flames. I'm sorry, I'm jumping because the feed is coming on and it's kind of jumping all over the place. Okay, so twin flames. Twin flames are those who are divinely sparked from you. It's one soul that was splintered. That's how you came from one source light and you were splintered into two. So what happens is that, where's Flirtman's Facebook? Yeah, they got rid of my Facebook page. I had to restart another one. They deleted my page once again. It's the fourth time in 1 year they deleted. So again, twin souls are splintered from one flame, splintered into two. They have two different experiences. They go on coexisting, experiencing different things, and at the end they're supposed to come back together with the intel that they got. And once they come back together kinetically, their intel, all their information, everything that they've learned, they bring together. And I heard when twin souls come together, it's almost like a painful reunion. It's almost so beautiful that it's tragic and it's so overwhelming. And sometimes when twin souls come prematurely, too soon, back to each other, back to their one source, sometimes it can be so overwhelming that they may be fearful to engage with the person based on the fact that they have it invokes so much in them. It's almost like fire. Well, it is fire, literally. So twin souls right now, as far as I know, and Dolores Cannon talked about this a little bit, right now, because we have ended the last cycle, this is a time when you have the capability of, if your twin soul is in the earth plane with you in the matrix, because not all twin souls are on the earth at the same time. If you are in fact on the planet with your twin soul, this particular time during our ascension process is when the twin souls will merge with you. They have the opportunity to. So if there was ever a time for you to meet up with your twin soul, this is the time that you would meet them. And how do you know it's your twin soul? It's unwavering. There's nothing that could keep you apart. Everything about them is right. It's so right that it's wrong. That's how perfected a piece of you is. It feels like your whole world has been totally engulfed with this person. It's from what I heard and I've maybe seen maybe two, if that. I say two, who I've seen who've actually merged with their twin souls, and it's infectious. When twin souls meet, also they cause a trigger in the earth, in the stratosphere. They actually cause earthquakes. because that's how strong that love, that solidification is. It's beautiful, but it's not everybody's ready. Don't ask for something when you're not ready, because it can turn your world upside down. But it is, I've only seen two, and I can only say one for sure. The second one maybe, but I tell you, whenever you're around them, the vibration is infectious. It's beautiful. It is absolutely, it is like viewing love as a liquid. Like if you ever look at love, if you ever think of the word love or what you perceive as love, and you see it as a liquid, that's how it looks when you meet these couples. It is magnanimous. That's how beautiful it is. I know one particular couple, two maybe, but one. And again, it is, you can feel it. It's not fake. It's nothing it's nothing you've encountered. And the only reason I know the one is because when I was on my journey getting away from my Nazi, detoxing from my Nazi, I went to a lot of groups to kind of, heal myself and really start to find aspects of myself. What about me would pick someone so similar, to a Nazi? Because again, I call that person a Nazi. Aspects of themselves were aspects of myself that were shadows that I didn't acknowledge. So I can't disrespect that person without saying that there were parts of me who chose that person because that person had qualities about myself that I was unaware of. So, but on my journey, I had one time where I came encounter with one. I say two because the second one, I met another person who had, who I believe is also, they might have been twin souls, but the one that I met, the couple, it was, everybody would want that. But they had done the work. And they weren't young either. They had done the work. These are people who had been through their own lives. They were whole people that came together. If you took them apart, they were whole. Everything about them was whole. Their being was whole, but together it was, it's amazing. Okay, so I'm sorry I went so long about that. It's beautiful. Let's see. What exactly is a Nazi? My ex. Someone who's highly controlling, abusive, narcissistic, sociopathic, murderous, controlling, every aspect of what the Nazis did. That's what a Nazi is. That's what my Nazi represented to me. And again, my Nazi, I still have to engage with my Nazi. Nazi to a certain degree, but they did this. My previous Nazi also accused me of mind control. They just accused me last week of keeping them under mind control because they said that I that they can't keep me out of their mind, and they're always wanting to do things to please me, so they think that I have them under mind control because they want to do those things. Very odd. It's a very odd relationship. I wish them well, but they're, again, my menstrual cycle date change every time I have a sex partner. Yes, Keisha, very good. Her menses cycle changed every time she got a new partner. Different vibration, different cycle. Your cycles change with your partners. Is that what the other young lady meant? I think that's what she meant, yes. Whenever you engage with whenever you engage with a new partner, your cycles will change based on the frequency and vibration of your partner. So, and also your menses cycles can extend or get longer or heavier based on dealing with people who are lower vibrational. So it's like reset. Very good, Lynn Perch. My family, you guys are like masterful. I am so in awe. Keisha, Mr. Corey, Lynn, Oz, Eros. I'm single AF as I am my own twin flame at this point. There's nothing wrong with that, Eros. It's just like the young lady that we spoke to earlier who said she's good being with herself. If you can't be good with yourself, you can't be good with someone else. So you can't be comfortable in your own skin with your own company. How do you expect anyone else to be okay with you like that? So I agree with you to a certain extent. I think we always are seeking and searching, and a lot of times, we're not clearing and cleansing, and then all you do is every time you jump out of one relationship straight into another one, all you did was bring your baggage from the last one and bringing it to the next one. And then you expect for different results, and really you're going to end up getting the same, actually worse sometimes, based on the fact that you weren't willing to acknowledge your own issues. Because if relationships don't work out, generally it's because something about us is not resolved. We have to resolve things within ourselves. You attract who you are, and also you get treated like you treat yourself. If you're not taking very good care of your body, if you're not very mindful of how you engage in the world, if you are heinous to other people and very indifferent to other people's feelings, then by all means, you're going to attract and engage with people who are just like that, whether you acknowledge it or not. The universe is beautiful in the way it will send you a reflection of yourself. And if you have an issue with the people showing up in your life, chances are you need to change aspects of yourself. So, like I tell people all the time, I love this saying. When I look in the mirror, like I can't see myself now, but sometimes I can see myself on the screen. You look in the mirror, and my hair is all messy, because you know my hair is messy all the time. My hair is messy. But I look in the mirror, my hair is messy. Am I going to go change my hair on the reflection? Absolutely not. What am I going to do? I'm going to change my hair. I'll fix my hair. I know it's still messy. I'll fix my hair on the screen, and then what happens? My reflection reflects the way I fixed my hair. So now I fix my hair, and now my reflection will reflect my fixed hair that I did on myself, not on the screen. It's insane when people want to fix everything outside of themselves and never themselves. Oh, thank you, Carmen. You know, I say my hair is messy all the time because after I had little people, I just stopped really obsessing with my hair and stuff like that. Not like I did before, but I just let it be. You know, I just like, you know, being who I am. My mate knows my cycle better than me. Yeah. And also, if you notice that women will go into same cycles, if they're working in close proximity, women will tend to get their menses cycle all at the same time. They all go in sync with one another. That's more of an animalistic quality, meaning that if there's males around mating, it allows for women to be in the same receptivity for procreation to create children, so that they're not out of sync, so that there's good competition with mating, meaning that males can find women that are ovulating all at the same time, which is good, because then there's good healthy choices, a lot of choices as opposed to one choice. Are you vegan? I'm what you call a vegan, vegetarian, raw veganist. I go on and off. I don't label myself anymore. I've been that on and off since 15. So I've been a vegan, vegetarian, I've been a vegan, on and off vegan, vegetarian since I was 15, and that's over 20 something years. Okay. Have I engaged with me during those spans? Absolutely. I had to at points when veganism wasn't very popular and I wasn't getting the right nutritional components. I had to add some meats back in and then take them out. You know, I'm pretty fanatic about that, but I found that, you know, especially if you're not a meat eater, you don't get your menses for a long period of time. People who don't eat meat tend to get their menses for a shorter span of time, like 2 or 3 days. Women's cycles are shorter based on the fact that they don't have to detox as much. Oh, Deshwanda wants to know, can you be contacted on Messenger, Flurbrun? Yes, I can be. You can go to my channel. I have a new channel. If you don't know, I just started again. They just deleted it again, and it probably will be deleted again. I'll put you in a private group that they can't seem to touch. It's a secret group. So if you join my Flurbrun, it's Flurbrun, Fleubrun, Anunnaki, A-N. I spelled it differently, so maybe it'll do something different. Anunnaki with a Q. And if you want to friend yourself up, I'm going to put you on my Facebook, but I'm going to put you in a secret group. That's where I put all my gems, my family members that I treasure. I put them in a secret group because they kept deleting my Facebook. Every time I would get a Facebook, they've deleted. And again, this is the 4th time. And remember, I don't have naked pictures on my Facebook. I don't have murderous pictures. I don't have any criminal pictures on my Facebook. They've deleted my Facebook 4 times. And they delete it. They don't put me on a suspension like they do everybody else. They just delete my page. So that lets you know how relevant our platform is. For them to have to delete little old me, what do I talk about? Just ETs and stuff. Why would they do that if it wasn't valuable or if it wasn't relative or relevant? It lets you know where we're at. So, they can keep doing it. Won't stop, can't stop. So, again, you can friend me up on Fleur. I'm going to take everybody from that page and put them on my secret group that I created. And we talk, we keep it real, and everyone shares. Okay. Dire Straits. Yes, I used to have Dire. Who do you know me? Dire. How do you know my name? Dire, do you know me personally? Film stress, entities running. Peace and love. Hey, Young Ra. Can you repeat the page? Yes. Flurbrun. F is in Frank. L is in Larry. E is an elephant. U is an uncle. R is in Rachel. B is in boy. R is in Rachel. U is an uncle. N is in Nancy. And that's Flurbrun. So you can find me on the page, and then Anunnaki's after it. But you could just put Flurbrun. It should just show up. So, don't worry about it. But I hope our show was relative. I'm sorry that the blog talk ended early. I hate when they do that. What should we do when Nibiru touches down? Nibiru is not going to touch down. If it touched down, the whole planet would go kabungle. Nibiru stays in a certain proximity around us. Yeah, it's not Anunnaki Flurbrun, but it's not Anunnaki. I spelled it differently purposely. It's Nanuqi. So I see some of you friending me already. So you found me. But Nibiru comes in a close proximity. It cannot touch us. It's actually at a good distance, but it does cause a shift in our magnetic field. That's why we get all the earthquakes, all the the elemental upheaval that comes from Nibiru being close. And it is a ship. Yeah, it's not a planetoid. It's actually a ship. Yes, Anunnaki. Nice bell is ringing now. Is the bell ringing? Is there a bell ringing? Mothership. So if you guys have any more questions, I love it. I'm actually going to be, I don't know if I'm going to do the show next week. I will try. I'm traveling. I'm going to be in New York for a couple weeks. So when I'm traveling, I like to do my show at my parents' neck of the woods, and I'll be in Manhattan for a little bit. So I'll keep you guys notified if I'll do the show. Because you guys get on me when I don't do my show on Thursdays. Whoever's going to be in New York, are you going to be in the Bronx? Young Ra? Are you going to be in the Bronx? Yeah, I'm going to be in New York. So, I like to do Uptown, Harlem, and Inwood. So if any of you are down there, Upper West Side in the house, if y'all want to hang out, you know where I'll be. And again, if you go on my Facebook, I'm more likely to state where I am. I'm not going to put it obviously on YouTube because, I've had a couple people come around stalkeration, but that's where I have my Taurus. The one thing about my Taurus is he's a warrior, so he doesn't allow people come too close. Yeah, I love Starbucks. You already know I do Starbucks. You already know where I be. All the Starbucks know me everywhere. Anywhere I've traveled, unfortunately, they all know me, and they know my drink of choice. Any recommendations for balancing hormones? I don't eat meat. What kind of hormones? Well, eating yams is good for keeping your estrogen levels. If you're low on estrogen, yams are great. Also, cashews are, there's estrogen, if you're low in hormones. If you have to... Yeah, I love you Tauruses, but you guys are hyper sex. I love being around you though, because I'm a Sag and I love to dance and so on too. I love that feisty, salacious kind of vibration of a Taurus. I mean, like I said, I have my Taurus and I adore him. He is hard to, he's hard to get off my brain half the time. But anyway, so let's see. Can you explain to me about the dream I had about a little boy in my dream giving me a clear box telling me to give someone a message? It was weird. Clear box and a message. I'm not sure what that means. I can't tell you. You're a Sag too, Bree? Big up to the Sagittariuses. I'm not quite sure what the clear box means. I would need a little more background on the rest of the dream. It can mean a number of different things. Importance of blood types. Is detrimental. Yeah, please mate. Yeah, listen, if you're mating with someone, what is wrong with you asking for their blood type? That's madness that you guys don't even know your blood types. I already told you. I know Amazon because I told everybody to go to Amazon and get your blood type test. It's $9.99. Go to Amazon, get your blood type. Ask your doctors to give your blood type, because you should not be engaging with anyone if you don't know their blood type. For the fact that you're mating with people, because if any O's are having sexual relationships with A, B's, and so on, they're going to pull from your life force. They just do it. It's not purposefully done. It's because you're an O. You're the umbrella, so they feed off of you. And for A, B's, and A's, it's fine for you guys to engage with one another. That's actually fine. The problem is if you're mating with people who are negatives, Rooses, and you're positive, you're going to have all kinds of health issues, and the children will have issues. You have to make sure you're mating with people of the same chemical components. That's very important. Also with cycles, we talked about cycles tonight. I'm going to try to get that intel to you on the cycles. I'll put it on my Facebook. You should know what cycle you're in. Are you in the beginning? Are you in the building stage? Are you in a party stage? Are you in the stage of closing down shop stage? Do I believe in evolution? Yes. Well, evolution. How do you mean evolution? Yes, I believe everything has to evolve. Everything has to keep moving. Everything perpetually moves. When it stops and gets stagnated, it dies. So evolution, in that way, I believe in it. Please answer if you can. How we know our past lives are real. You know your past lives are real because you have remnants of it. Some of you like the Antiquarian stages. Some of you have propensities of Vikings. I was talking to Barry about this. We were talking on the phone about that. Me and Barry have the same type of past life where we kind of think we remember each other, or in the same time frame. If you have a fascination with Vikings, like there's people who have fascinations with Vikings, most likely you're in your past life with that. People who have fascination with wars and swords, most likely are your time of different kingdoms in Europe. If you have memories or propensities, when I say memories, it's propensities. Like whenever you feel like a genre that is something that you are lured by, more so than you should. Like if you take a dude that's like from the hip hop era and he has this thing for Shakespearean language or music, you're saying to yourself, what would a hip hop dude like with Shakespearean music? It's because his past life residue is still part of him. He's remembering it. The residue is still on him. So he has a propensity to have a feeling of admiration for this time frame. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's all I remember because we were talking very fast. Okay, I'm sorry I talk so fast. How do you attach links? Have to delete some letters. How can you legalize having sex with children? What? Okay, let's take you off. We have another sick person, okay? I'm going to make you have nightmares tonight for even asking that question. Whenever you come on my page asking very disdainful, terrible things like that, I'm gonna send you nightmares, because anytime you're against children or you are a predator, I have no empathy for you. It's disgusting. Okay, so yeah, I just sent them to the other realms. Can we send that nasty? Yeah, we're gonna send them nightmares. That's one capability I can do. I can bring you a heaven, and I can bring you hell. And if you do things like that, especially talking about children or animals or people in disdainful ways, I will make sure I send you straight to where you need to go. And I'm sure the nightmares he has tonight, hopefully he'll be thankful that it was only nightmares. Obviously. Okay. The pedophiles are sickos, and also they come back as abused children. So I say everything's relative. What you do is your karma. So whatever you do, you get back. Okay. Good. Let's see. He asked 4 times yes. At least we're trying to legalize. Oh. What was he asking? He asked it 4 times. He asked why elites are trying. Oh, did I just delete him for no reason? I thought he was asking why. No, they're legalizing it because that's what they are. They're not human, honey. Let me explain something. There are species here coexisting with us. They're not human. If a human attacks children and does things to children, that means he's sick. But there are beings here whose food source are children, feeding off of their fear, feeding off of their flesh. There are beings here that are other species, just like many of you eat cow or turkey or eat lamb. I don't want to disrespect meat eaters, but you got to compare the two. There are beings here who eat children, who eat people, and molest them only to feed off of their fear. There's a food source out of the chemical release that they also taste in the flesh of the child when they're killing them, but also it is a fear energy that they feed off of when they terrorize children. So there are beings here that they're not human, they're other entities, and that's what they feed off of. So they're not elites. I don't want to give these beings, there's no such thing as elites. No elite person would do that. Only lower dark cabal beings do things like that in other species. I don't want to give them kudos by calling them elites. They are zero elites. They are bottom feeders. They're parasites. They're vampires. Let's call them what they are. Okay, that's what they are. De-elites, yeah. Evil, yeah. But they're not elites. Elites makes them, using the word elites makes them, gives them a status, a quo of being above, above everyone else. They're bottom feeders. That's why they're parasitic. That's why they hide. If they were elites, they wouldn't have to hide. They hide because they have to. If they were all bouty, if they about that life, if they really about that, they wouldn't be hiding. They'd be out in the forefront saying, "Hey, we do this, everybody." They're not doing that. That's why they're bottom feeders and they're parasites. They're vampiric, and they can only exist in secret, because if they lived outwardly, they'd be destroyed. So that's why we blow their spots. Archons, parasites, vampiric, yeah, they're all over. But they're not elites. They're everything beyond that. And there's no such thing as elites. They're bottom feeders. Let's call them what they are. You're not finding me, Caprice? Yeah, Flurbrun. It's Fleubrun. Flurbrun. Okay. What are the beings? Oh, the Deros. The Deros look like the beings that look like pigs. Are Deros. Where they come from? They come from the inner earth. They coexist in the caverns. Well, Barry talks about that. They live in the caverns of the inner earth. So a lot of times you see the Deros. They live in certain areas, like in Asia. There's an opening where the Deros live, and I think Southeast Asia. Also, there's an opening in California somewhere by I think the Mount Shasta. I think there's an opening there where sometimes they come out and they feed. In California, I think California is one of their feeding grounds. What do you think about Kardashians? There's some. Yeah, I told you that Kardashians are what I coined as insectilian queens. That's why they have such a pheromonic quality. Seems like every time I try to raise my consciousness and meditate more, why is my thing not working? Hold on. Eros, you said, seems like every time I try to raise my consciousness and meditate more, I find that new people enter my life, and I began to see these people as handlers. Okay. Yeah, well, people, remember, things are attracted to the light. So, whenever the darkness is around, they will fly to, just like, moths fly to the flame, they fly to the light. So yes, once you start raising your consciousness, if you do not change your environment, you will consistently attract handlers or parasites or archons. Once you change your vibration, your environment should change. Meaning that you should have a need to, especially if you were living somewhere where there's a high amount of parasites, handlers, or vampiric people, you would want to move to a location that is less permissible to those type of activities or persons or entities. Okay? Because remember, people, places, and things around you, if you are higher vibrational, your environment should show up higher vibrational, including the people in it. I would say if you're meditating and raising your vibration, whenever you're getting a nudge to move, start to think about relocating your location, your locale, if possible, if permissible. Flipper, I can't get, I get contacted by hostile grays every full moon. Sleep, D Money. If you're being contacted by grays, I would say, and this is no, listen, I keep it 1,000. I'm gonna keep it real. I could tell you most people are being contacted by hostile grays, especially if you're a man of color. You may be drinking, you may be smoking too much chief. They're attracted, they tend to come around people who, like the elixirs, especially Hennessy, the drinking, and they like those who engage in recreational drugs. So, if you're seeing grays, you may want to lay off the yak or less chiefing. Or if you're going to chief, you make sure you grow your own. And I'm not saying to grow marijuana if you're not in a legal state. I don't want to make that claim, but I'm saying if you're chiefing, that's something that would also make you permissible to seeing those type of grays. Seeing hostile grays is a sign that your vibration is compromised, okay? Because they only come to those who are highly engaged in drugs or drinking, even if it's to a low amount. So I would just say if you sipping on the yak, you might have to chill out with that. Oh, that rhymes, right? Sipping on the yak, you may have to chill out with that. And if you chiefing, I'm not a fan of chiefing smoking, but I am a fan of using certain forms of chief to, growing it and using it in lotions, eating it with your salad, drinking it with teas. I do agree with, chief for that reason. I don't believe in chiefing and smoking because it does, once you burn it, you destroy the benefits of it, and also you make it into a drug. It changes its molecular structure, and it makes you susceptible to infiltration by entities. Cancer is also a metaphysical. Why do some people smokers get cancer and others don't? Genetic tolerance. It's a combination platter. We don't want to just say it's one thing or not. But cancer, if you listen to Jewel Brookman, who I've listened to for many years, she's a phenomenal metaphysician. She's also a doctor. She talks about things being metaphysically linked to, like many diseases being diseases of your spirit. So many people, she said, who get cancer tend to be liars. They lie to themselves and they lie to others, and then it manifests as cancer. Many of the different diseases have psychological connections that are connected to disease. So cancer is one of them, is somebody not living in their truth. And what it does is it's basically something eating at you, and eventually it takes over as cancer. So if you're not living your truth and not and lying to yourself or lying to others, cancer will probably manifest. Listen to Jewel Brookman. She probably has a better way of stating that, but that's what that's. You don't drink or smoke, Demon? Okay, so Demon doesn't drink or smoke. Huh. And you're getting hostile grays? Oh, Demon. Now, okay, so now, Demon, now you've let me know that maybe you're coming from a specific hybrid. Because if the grays are coming, there's an interest in you. And if they're hostile, I'm trying to think, because usually grays are sent by other species. Grays don't just come. Yes, there are grays that are actually organic grays, but most grays are grown. They're fetuses that are grown. They're biobots. They're ran by other species that don't want to come to the planet, so they send the grays to do their dirty work. If you're being taken or contacted by negative grays, chances are your bloodline, you have some connection to some of the reptilian, one particular it may be draconian, because usually if it's Anunnaki, they're not hostile, even if they send their grays. I would want to find out more about you, your blood type, where your family's from, because if they're contacting you, you're of consideration. Grays don't just come for anybody, they come for specific bloodlines. And hostile, grays generally are not hostile unless it's another group who is adverse to your group, is studying you for research. So I need to know a little more, Demon. I apologize if you don't do any yak or anything like that. I do apologize for accusing you, because usually that's why they come as well. That's crazy. I've been meditating, eating better, staying positive. Okay, so Demon, it's your blood. It's something about your blood, your bloodline. So if they're contacting you, it's your bloodline. I need to know a little bit more about your bloodline, where you're from, again, your blood type. There's interest in you, and it's adverse to whoever the beings they're sending for you. Okay, I've met a gray who wanted to work with me. Yeah, hostile grays don't come. But when they do, it's because the beings sending them are adverse to your bloodline, meaning that it's other people, other peeps sending their peeps to research you, but it's been okayed. Hybrids, certain bloodlines. It's interesting. What about random scratches on the body? Come out of nowhere. Fights in the ether. Many of you are fighting right now. Many of you are going through strife in the ether. Some of you are warrioresses and warriors. And many of the times we think when we go to battle in the ether, fighting other beings, and going to war, we come back with marks and bruises on our body. And other times it could be, if we talk about homes that are haunted, beings that are permeating the field, then you may get what we consider to be poltergeists. And poltergeists sometimes will come up with physical apparitions of scratches and bodily injuries as well. Flurban, why do I feel attached to my male friend? He's white and I'm black in very different backgrounds, but there's attachment between us. White and black doesn't mean anything. Don't mean anything. There's no such thing as racial different. Listen, many of us obsess with race. There are many beings, and also white and black. You could come back as a black person. I don't want to use the word black, melanin dominant person in this life, and could have been a white European or of lunar descent in your previous lives, and your person that you've known all your life who was the same race comes back in a different race. Race doesn't really, we can't, if you have an affinity for somebody of a different race and you're very close and you feel kinship to them, skin color doesn't play into that. You know what I mean? There's so many different beings here, so many different mixtures. We come back in past lives, we're being recycled. There's a lot of things going on here. It's a madhouse. Says I need to know about my bloodline. I was adopted, so I don't know much about my bloodline. I just know I'm Native American. Okay, Tanya, Native American, start going into the data banks. I would say find out your blood type. You can do pheno searches. I don't know if they still do that. In the laboratories, we used to do that. Pheno searches are finding people of the same exact phenotype as you, who have matches, to find out where your kin, especially when you have that native marker in you. I'm so nervous to allow the labs to do it now because they're messing with everybody's blood. But if you can find a pheno lab that can match you, or picture searches to find other people with same bone structure and so on like you. I think they have it on the computers now. You can match your face with others and find people of the same physicality of you, and you can find your native background and start there. Also, if you've been adopted, see if they can open any of that documentation to give you some intel about your native connection. I wish you well with that, Sea Star. Okay, so family, as you see, Flurbrun is getting tired. Oh, my phone is ringing. Who's calling? Oh, who's calling? Why is my phone? Whoever's calling, call back. Someone's calling from no caller ID. Why is it not going through? That's interesting. A lot of things go on. Who is calling? Oh, hold on. Hello, peace.
What's happening?
Oh, there's Barry.
I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
Of all the time that we've known each other so far,
Yeah.
you will never again catch me with my pants down.
Oh, Barry.
Like you did tonight.
Oh, Barry.
No, it was that bad. I'm going to tell you here's the deal.
Oh,
I shot these videos today. I've had a large day. A lot of stuff accomplished. It's been a great day.
Go.
And my brother let me know a little late that he's playing down. We're having the River Festival, which is the biggest festival my city has all year round.
Oh, cool.
It's been going on since before I was born. It's pretty cool. Believe it or not, Wichita is actually a river city. We have a river here. Two of them, a confluence, two of them meeting.
Yeah,
the
but
little
Barry,
Arkansas.
Barry, you're sidebarring. You just answered the phone and you said I caught you with your pants down. They're all laughing right now. What you mean by that, Barry?
Wait a minute. I'm not on the deal.
Yes, you are.
You're still doing your show?
Yes, Barry. They can all hear you. Listen, Barry thought he was. See how naughty Barry is? You see how he talks to me in private?
Shit, man. This is worse than last week. I was on that deal and you cut off and I was just talking a bunch of shit and crap.
They all heard
And I'm
you.
sure nobody could hear me. I was talking racial crap. I was talking all sorts of crap. I know a bunch of people heard. I was cussing. And then, oh, man, it's even worse than that. Oh, Lord. I'm not even going to get laid. Anyway, sorry. Golly, man, boy. Goodness.
Oh, Barry. Do you have your pants back up, Barry? Or are they still down?
Yeah, my pants are up. They're laced on like Levi 501. That shit was tight. They're tight. They're laced up. I'm sorry, buckled up.
They're all laughing.
Oh, I'm embarrassed.
Barry,
Lord, I'm
they're all
embarrassed.
laughing right now, Barry.
Oh man, God dog it.
Somebody said I'm
And you know
dead.
what's worse? What worse is when we were talking, I have all these people yell. Well, you know, my brother and I look quite a bit. He's playing. We look quite a bit alike.
Mm-hmm.
He plays bass, and I was standing behind the band and all that on the stage, and everybody was yelling over there.
Yeah.
As people recognized me, saying they were empaths.
Oh.
But they're people that I've known before, but they saw a video.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to talk about how can they turn off their empathic abilities. And the whole thing is just very odd how it's been tonight, but it is what it is.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was just about to log off with our family, Barry. We could talk. Oh my God, you are so dirty. You're saying a nasty thing. I'm about to log on. You want to say anything to our people before I let them go into the ether?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. No guru. There's no guru here. There's no swami here. I like to have a good time, and that is what it is. and I love women. I love everything about y'all. So
Yeah,
God bless.
Barry gets naughty after 12 midnight.
After
All right.
7:30.
Wait, hold on, Barry. I'm going to say goodnight to our family. So, family, I want to say, no, Barry's always sober. Barry doesn't drink. That's the wonderful thing about Barry. Barry's sober, and that's how you know his intel is phenomenal. Anyway, family, I want to thank you. Oh, they said, are you drunk? Barry doesn't drink. No, Barry doesn't drink. They think you're being naughty because you have some elixirs on you. No, he's sober.
I had a beer.
Oh, he did have a beer. See, I don't even know that, Barry. You had a beer? You don't drink. You drink beer? You had a beer?
Yes.
Oh, Barry had a beer. Ooh. Oh, wow. Anyway, family, I'd like to thank everybody who joined me tonight. Beautiful. I really appreciate you coming out. Listen, especially my family. You really represented every time. You come with the best intel, the best questions. Barry and I, they said Barry Beer. They're calling you Barry Beer now.
Oh God, great!
I love you. And then, like I said, keep up the good intel. Many of you are looking in the skies. Make sure that you're looking up in the skies and keep taking and documenting. They cannot stop us if we come together. Every time we come together, that's why they keep fighting me. That's why they delete my Facebook. They don't want this unity consciousness to come on field. Please keep doing what you do. Keep raising your frequency. Keep being positive and keeping your integrity in sight. And also, enjoy. It's mating season for all those. And I hope it was very helpful. Can't stop, won't stop. Thank you, Shannon. I hope it was helpful sharing what we should do to mate. I want you all to make divine children and also to have divine sexual liaisons. And it's best.
Oh, come on.
Yes, you don't like that? Yes, I want you to make love like you're making love.
I need that.
So, I love you, family. Thank you again for joining us on Aquarius Rising, the 9th gate. And I look forward. Again, I'm going to be in New York for a couple weeks. I will tell you if I have the show. I may not do the show next weekend. I may do it the week after.